Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith. On this channel, we talk about everything financial literacy. And today we're going to be doing the ultimate guide for Navy Federal. I'm going to compile the 7 videos that I've put on this channel into one comprehensive guide so you can watch them all in order. And I'm going to place them in the order that I think would be the most productive for someone who's new to Navy Federal. In the future, I will probably be adding more to this. But for now, I just want to put everything that we've gone through so far, seeing as how I've been doing at least these videos once a month. So for the past year, it's been 7 videos. Pretty much every month I'm adding on something new about Navy Federal. So let's just get into the order of the video. The first one that you're going to be watching is how to get a 450 internal score. If you are new to Navy Federal, that would be the one that I would start with. I would suggest that way you can start learning right off the bat. How can you increase that internal score? How can you get those lower interest rates, get higher limits? So that's going to be the first one. The second one is going to be 5 things that Navy Federal will not tell you. Just a couple of things to consider that you may want to do and add on as you're going through trying to increase your internal score. The third one will be the Navy Federal Pledge Loan, adding on some products and services that you may be interested in. The next one is going to be $80,000 Navy Federal Flagship credit card. Not only will it show you how to increase your limit in a short span of time, it'll also be going over the best credit card that you can possibly get with them and how to maximize your credit. The next one will be the $50,000 Navy Federal personal loan. I was thinking about putting this one last because it may not be something that everyone is trying to do immediately, but if you are interested in that, then you can go straight to that video if you're already a member of Navy Federal. Number 6 is going to be buying a car with Navy Federal. At the beginning of the year, I did a video on how to buy a car with that credit and the credit unions who you can possibly use in order to do that. So if you're looking to purchase a car from Navy Federal, please keep in mind that video is old. The interest rates may have changed. Always go online, check the interest rates first before you follow all the steps in the video. And then the last one is how to get approved for the Go Biz rewards card. Now, I believe that was my first video on Navy Federal, but it was the most familiar to me because I had just gotten approved for that card with the $15,000 starting limit. So if you are interested in learning how to not only set up a business account with Navy Federal, but to also qualify for that card, that is the most comprehensive guide that you can definitely look at. So this is a list of all 7 videos. Again, more than likely every month I'll be adding new videos onto this, and maybe towards the end of the year, we will have an even longer extended guide that'll have more detailed information on this credit union. So if you know exactly what you're looking for, you don't have to start at the beginning. You can jump to the timestamp that you are most interested in. All right. So if there's a specific thing that you want to go over, please do that here. If you have any questions or things that you want to add to the video, please leave a comment so that other people can look at that as a resource. All right. Thank you so much. And you guys have a wonderful day. Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith. On this channel, we talk about everything financial literacy. And today I have a really, really good video for you guys with some information that I'm very excited to actually share. I recently went to a Navy Federal branch, one that was here in Las Vegas. If you live here, it's only a couple of them, right? So I sat down with someone because I was looking into getting some loans. And when I sat down with him, he gave me some really good information on how to get a 450, a perfect internal Navy Federal credit score. And if you don't know what an internal score is with Navy Federal, we're going to talk about that. But it's just recently I released a video on how to get an $80,000 credit card, the Flagship with Navy Federal. On that video, I talk about a strategy that anyone can use, whether your credit is good, whether your credit is bad. It's a strategy that you basically use and do things that essentially increase your internal score. Now, when you increase your internal score, it gives you a better chance of getting products and services with Navy Federal because they don't just consider your personal FICO 9 TransUnion score or whatever scoring model that they're using, because they also use Experian for the business side. It doesn't really matter. It matters, but it's like in conjunction with that, you also have this internal score that really is based on the things that you do with them. Okay, so it's like you don't just have to rely on just having a super high credit score like a 700 and just think that the door is just open for you and you can get everything. Recently, one of our subscribers, and I think I pinned that actual comment that he made. He had a 580 credit score and was able to get $11,000 for a flagship credit card with Navy Federal. Now, that doesn't mean that his personal credit score may not have been high, but maybe he had no derogatory marks and he was in the process of rebuilding, but maybe it looked like this could have potential. And then maybe he did some things with that strategy in order to put himself in position to get a high internal score. So even with having a low credit score or bad credit, he was able to still get a very high credit limit and a very good credit card. So that's why this is important. That's the reason why I'm excited to share this information and why I think that, everyone should implement these things if they can in order to increase their internal score with Navy Federal, whether you're a member or whether you are planning to become a member in the future. So, let's get started with these things that I actually learned while I was at Navy Federal. First thing, something I did mention in the video, but I did get more information on and why it was important. So for Navy Federal direct deposit, and having that flagship, the checking account. Now, I talked about this in that same video, but I want to give more information on how this actually will increase your internal score. So stability and predictability. This is a really big thing with Navy Federal, and this kind of works with all financial institutions, other credit unions, banks. Direct deposit, it provides a stable and predictable source of funds when a customer has a paycheck or other forms of income. When it's directly deposited into your bank account, it ensures a regular flow of money into that bank. Recently, I did another video on how to set up or how to create paycheck stubs, but also how to set up direct deposit if you're self-employed. So now I pay myself through my business. I just got an email, seriously, like right before I made this video, I got an email saying that my cash rewards card, my cash back increased from 1.5% to 1.75% because I have direct deposit again. So they're recognizing the deposit that I'm making through my business as my direct deposit. So if you're someone who's self-employed or has a business and you wonder how you can do this, I have a video on that as well. Again, if you have a question, I'm just trying to make sure that for any type of I don't know how else to call it, but any excuse or anything that you think can prevent you from doing something, I want to have a counter to that argument, because I really do believe that if you stop making excuses and reasons why you can't, you'll see that there's plenty of solutions. The solutions are everywhere. They're infinite. You just have to change your mindset. So even if you're self-employed, you can do this too. Now, it's reduced cost. So direct deposit actually reduces the cost associated with handling paper checks with Navy Federal, and it saves money on printing, processing, mailing when members opt into this. So Navy Federal likes to see that because it will save them money and it helps streamline their operations. So it does reduce expenses. All of this stuff is very, very important when you want to increase your internal score. Retention. So when they offer this, it retains customers, because normally when you have your direct deposit with an institution, you're very rarely going to go somewhere else. What's cool is you can actually have a direct deposit for a small amount, and you could spread your your deposit among many banks. So most of your jobs will have this, where if you go into Workday, Workforce, whatever it is that you're using, you can actually disperse your deposit into many different banks. Essentially, you will still have the direct deposit feature. So just know that it's not like you have to only do this with one place. You can spread it amongst a bunch of other banks. So just be aware that that's something that you can do. It increases the engagement. So it encourages members to engage more with their bank account. When members have income that's going directly into their bank, they're more likely to use other products and services like bill pay, savings accounts, and other features. And as of now, they're actually offering a special savings with the free flagship checking account. if you have an average daily balance of $1,500 or more, $10 if you have less than $1,500. So just by knowing that, you can see that Navy Federal is incentivizing members to maintain a certain balance in their account, and this will increase your internal score significantly. So these are all reasons why having that is super important and why you want to enroll in this. Even if you're only going to do a partial enrollment, I recommend doing that. And if you can at least maintain an average daily balance of $1,500, it'll save you the $10 for the flagship. Having that premier tier account does also help. So if you can, do that. Let's move on to the next thing. Now let's talk about the pledge loan. Now with the pledge loan, and you may know this too, I have a video on this. If you want an in-depth review on the pledge loan, how it works, how it helps, I recommend that you watch that video as well. I'll probably link them at the end. So you utilize your Navy Federal pledge loan to boost your credit score. Lots of people have been doing this. It can increase your score, seems to be an average of 40 to 60 points. This strategy involves depositing anywhere from $250 all the way up to $100,000, initiating a pledge loan, a secured loan, and then paying off 90% either immediately or you can wait a month for it to report. That's your choice. This method diversifies your credit portfolio. So when you have your credit profile, this will give you a good credit mix. It'll also show that you can handle large amounts of loans and that you're paying them back on time. It also will increase your credit score because payment history is 35% of your overall score. So a majority of your score comes from on-time payments. The longer you have this loan, the more on-time payments get reported, the better that it will improve your credit score. So it really has really great effects as long as you're doing it for a lengthy amount of time. A shorter amount of time, it will help initially, and then once it's gone, you're gonna not have any more, on-time payments that are reporting. So then it may lose some of that help because your score may take another hit once it's paid off. But initially, it does help. I recommend doing longer periods of time. It doesn't have a hard inquiry. That's another great benefit. So I believe my internal score was around like 304, somewhere around there out of 450 in my first 6 months. Then I got a pledge loan. I also did get a secure credit card too, but I got the pledge loan. I did a $501 pledge loan for 12 months. And when I finished doing that, my internal score was about 402 out of 450. And when that happened, when I paid the pledge loan off, maybe this was, I don't know if it was the same thing, but when I paid off my pledge loan, that's when my secure card actually graduated. I only did a $200 deposit. I got that back, and then my secure card graduated to $2,000. And then I was able to keep raising that up. So that's just something that I want to recommend that you guys do. I'm not sure if it was a combination of both, but I will say that it brought my internal score up very high from that 304 to that 402. And the way that it was told to me is that when you do a pledge loan, apparently from what the guy in Navy Federal told me, they earn a small amount of interest. Now, if you go onto the website, you'll actually see this. They earn 2% of interest on the pledge loans, and then they earn 3% of the interest if it's longer than 61 months. So while you're increasing your credit score, you're also boosting your internal credit score. That's the benefit for you. The benefit for Navy Federal is that they're earning interest off of this. They really like to see that you're using their products and services. When you leave money in their bank, it's in their credit union, it's helping them. When you do this, it's helping them. So really what you're seeing is there's a mutual beneficial relationship going on between us, the members, and the credit union, because when we get all of these products and services, it does help make them a small amount of money. And yes, it seems like it's a very small amount on the individual level, but if we look at the macro level, when you're doing this for a couple of million people, it adds up to a large amount. So just know that your small contribution is helping in the bigger picture, and that does help increase your internal score overall. All right, so let's move on to the next one. Now, this is one that I rarely hear anyone talk about with Navy Federal, but I feel like it's a very easy one. If you guys want, I can cover an entire video on this particular thing. I have not done that yet, but it's an Easy Start certificate. So investing in the Easy Start certificates with an amount ranging from $50 to $3,000, you can do that for 12 to 24 months. This can significantly enhance your relationship with Navy Federal. So these certificates offer APY benefits, so you can earn a little bit on there, and it's demonstrating a solid financial commitment and aiding your credit score at the same time. So the minimum deposit is as low as $50. You can do as low as $50. The terms are available from 12 to 24 months. You can add money at any time. There's no maximum purchase, and you can open multiple certificates, and you can renew it up to 21 days after the maturity date. So these are they're just another tool that you can use to help improve your relationship. Some of us are not in the position or are not going to do auto loans right now. Some of us aren't going to look at mortgage loans with them right now. So you can also have those. But if you don't have a mortgage loan and you don't have an auto loan, then you could do a pledge loan. You can also do a certificate. All these things help. In my opinion, I don't think the amount matters. I just think that you're using the product is what matters with Navy Federal. So again, with my internal score, I never did one of these, but it makes me wonder, what if I would have done an Easy Start certificate and a pledge loan and a secured credit card, a Flagship checking account, and direct deposit at the beginning? You could go as low as $50 on this. The pledge loan, you can literally do a secured card for $200, literally, or you could do a pledge loan for $200. Yes, you can actually take that money, you get it back, then you can pay off 90%, get the 90% back, then take that money and then do the secure card for as low as $200. So you can completely just keep moving this money around. So for the most part, for you to have all of these products, it may only cost you like less than $300 to do all of these. I mean, it doesn't really cost much. And then wait, 90 days to kind of have those direct deposits build up? That might increase your internal score right there. That might get you very close to a 450. So again, just all things that you can keep in mind. I haven't talked about the Easy Start certificates. So if that's something that you would want more information on, then just let me know. I'd be more than happy to make a video on that. I have really not seen anyone on YouTube talk about this, which is why I was so excited to actually get this information from this guy at Navy Federal. I mean, he was really, really, really nice, and he just gave me the rundown on all the things and just gave me every single reason why these actual products and services actually make money for Navy Federal and why they're going to look at you in a really good light and why it helps your internal scores. So yeah, if you appreciate this information, definitely like and subscribe. All right, let's move on to the next one. We already know, having any of Navy Federal credit cards, including the N Rewards, the secure card, it'll greatly improve your internal score just based off what I told you, right? Every single bank makes money from interchange fees. All of them do. When you swipe that card, the more you use it, the more money that you're making for that traditional bank, that credit union, whoever. That's the reason why they want you to use their card, okay? They make money from these interchange fees. So that's how it will benefit Navy Federal. Now, again, what I'm realizing is it really doesn't matter. It seems like the limit that you get, the size of all you have to do is be actively using this product. Just use it. And hopefully you're starting to notice the trend here. There's a trend. You need to get products that make Navy Federal some money. That's it. The more you use this, the more it helps them. And in turn, they're going to help you. So swipe your card, make money. The more transactions that you make and that you pay back, it helps. It really, really, really will help. And again, this is why I'm saying, even if you're working on your credit, this does not prevent you from getting this started. You can, even if I had a 480 credit score when I first started, I was able to get the N Rewards card. Yes, it was a hard inquiry. I did make a deposit of $200. Okay. I was able to do that. Again, you can take the same 200, Start a $201 pledge loan. I recommend at least doing the $501 for 12 months or longer. I recommend doing it longer because when you pay off 90%, you get the funds back. I recommend doing that, getting the M Rewards card if that's all that you qualify for, and then taking the rest of the money, sitting it in your account, your Flagship checking, at least $1,500 to now not have a fee every month. And now you have that balance, you have this, you have that, you can get a certificate. All of these things are going to greatly improve your internal score. It does not cost you a lot of money to be able to do all of this. And the benefit that you get, the payoff is going to be much greater than what it costs you to actually do this. So definitely, again, it doesn't matter what level you start at. You start at the end rewards, cool. Anyone can do it. You start at the level of cash rewards, cool. That's fine. Get yourself in there. But you want to get all of these products and services. All right, so I want to talk about 3 other tips, other key factors that I want you to consider. Credit line increases. So requesting a credit line increase with Navy Federal, it can instantly improve your utilization overall. It's a key factor in your credit scoring, okay? You want to utilize the Navy Federal app for a soft pull. When you don't do the Navy Federal app and you try to call, there have been reports that you will get a hard pull for a credit line increase. So you want to utilize that, and it will, minimize the impact of having that hit on your credit score. So definitely go ahead, ask for credit line increases if you already have a card with them, just because it can greatly increase your credit score if your utilization is high and maybe you're not in the place to pay off a lot of debt right now. Increasing the limit can also help reduce that ratio. Okay. Optimal payment timing. Now, this kind of goes without saying, of course, but paying your credit card on the statement close date, not on the due date, it can maximize your credit score boost. All right. Now, this is something that just, again, it kind of goes without saying, but this strategy can elevate your score by 30 points, emphasizing the importance of having strategic payments. And what I mean by that is essentially if you pay down your utilization, like let's say down to 10% right at the closing cycle date, and that reports, it's going to look very, very good. It's going to look like you're paying your card and you're not using much of the limit. That can also help. The credit line increase is another way. I'm just saying some things where you want to consider these other factors because regardless to having a high internal score, like let's say you do all of this and you get a 450 perfect internal score. If you want to help yourself a little bit more, improve your credit score, at least get to like a 650, 680 range. And if you can, try to get rid of all the derogatory information. All of this will greatly, greatly, greatly help you. So, and then, of course, maintaining a high credit score, that leads us right to that. So focus on optimizing payment history, your utilization, your credit age mix, and new credit. These components significantly influence your credit score, with on-time payments and utilization being the most impactful. So they contribute 35 to 30% of your score respectively. And of course, if you've been on this channel for a while, I've already talked about this a whole lot. So I know you're already aware of this, but if you're new and you haven't been here, then I want you to know that maintaining a high credit score is very important. Now, with Navy Federal in this particular topic, yes, having a high internal score is really, really good. Having a high internal score does not make up for having poor credit or having a majority of like derogatory marks. Now, what I'm saying is even with bad credit, it does not stop you from getting these higher limits or getting things with Navy Federal. But if you have a credit report with a bunch of derogatory marks and you owe like 10 collections, 10 charge-offs, that you got to clean that up. You just have to, because having bad credit or low credit is one thing. Having a credit report where you have a bunch of accounts that you didn't pay on is something totally different. Okay. You got to understand those things are not the same thing. Having a bunch of derogatory marks and having a low credit score is not the same exact thing. Because you can have a 700 credit score and get denied from having one collection or one charge off because they're going to say you have too many accounts that you haven't paid back. even with the 700 credit score. I've had one and been denied, not by Navy Federal, but other places by having that. Now with Navy Federal, I've had 2 charge-offs and still had my credit card graduate to get a $2,000 limit. So again, I'm not saying that with Navy Federal, I'm just saying in general, you want to take care of that, because you can't, I mean, you're not going to just go to Navy Federal. You want to go to other places and maximize, right? So you want to have a high internal score, but just know that if you want to get the full effect of the benefits, you do need to make sure that your credit score is in good shape, or as the best shape that you can get it in. So I'm not saying it has to be perfect. I'm just saying that you need to get it in the best shape that you possibly can in order to help yourself. You just want to put yourself in the best position possible to be able to win. That's all I'm saying. Put yourself in the best light that you possibly can in the eyes of these institutions. And, just really try to make sure that you're maintaining all these things at the same time as doing these other options to increase your internal score. Those are all the things that were mentioned to me. I wrote down as many of them as possible and then just added some additional benefits that I heard, and then added some of those details about, why does this help? Because I think it's not just important to understand, what you should do. It's better to understand how it works. So now you have an understanding of why this benefits the institution, the credit union, even the traditional bank, why they want you to do these things, and how it could help you. Because the same way that they have an internal score, I believe that every bank has some sort of internal scoring model that they use in order to grade you. Because you see people get denied all the time, even with a 700, 750 credit score, they get denied. It's happened to me, and I can tell you plenty. I've had it to where they told me, because I don't have a bank account, I don't have a relationship, I didn't. These things actually do matter. So, you could take this same internal scoring video with Navy Federal, and you can apply a lot of these same things to another traditional bank. This is all really good privy information. And yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. Very, very glad that I was able to go in there. Glad I was able to get this information and ask these questions. If you have any other products or services that you use with Navy Federal, if you know your internal score and you've gotten it increased over a certain period of time, drop what you've done to increase your internal score into the comments. If you know your internal score, drop your internal score into the comments. Someone may want to ask you, what did you do? How did you get that internal score? Where did you start? All this information is good, especially when we can share it with each other. So please, by all means, I'm definitely curious to know where did you start? What products have you gotten, and where are you now? Please leave that in the comments. Without anything else, you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. And again, thank you. Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith. On this channel, we talk about everything financial literacy. And today we're going to be talking about one of the credit unions that we all know, we all love. Navy Federal is the largest credit union in the United States, and it's most loved because they have low interest rate products. They have no money down mortgages, high limit credit cards. Most of us are aware of all the benefits, but there are some other things that they do have with Navy Federal that also have benefits that they do not tell you, or that you are unaware of unless you ask them, or unless you look into it, or you watch videos like this where we disclose this hidden information. So today we're going to be going over 5 things that Navy Federal will not tell you, and hopefully some of these things can actually benefit you. So let's get started. The first one that we're going to be looking at is going to be the Navy Federal prepaid cards. I know that probably seems like something very vague, but we're going to go into some of the benefits of the Navy Federal prepaid card. So the Navy Federal Go prepaid card, account owners can use their debit card or their credit card, Visa or MasterCard only, to fund their Go prepaid account. The name on the funding card, it must belong to the account owner. So they don't accept any other forms of payment. It has to be a debit card or a credit card that's issued by Navy Federal. It cannot be issued by another financial institution. It has to be just Navy Federal. And while there's no charge for ordering the Go prepaid card, you must initially fund the card with at least $20. When you order a Navy Federal Go prepaid card, you'll be required to enter your funding card information. And there's a special note here. When funding the Go prepaid card with a credit card, the funding transaction is processed as a regular purchase transaction and not a cash advance. So with this, you can withdraw cash from the ATM at a maximum of $600 per day. You can also add up to 5 cards for family members or friends. So essentially, if you get 5 of these cards, then you can withdraw $3,000 per day, which would ultimately, if you had 4 days of doing this, you'd be able to withdraw $10,000 in cash. This would be all from your credit card or your debit card. So one advantage of that is now if you did want to get cash from your Navy Federal credit card and you did not want to pay a cash advance fee, or you wanted to use more than what was allowed, you can actually fund this Go prepaid card, and then you can withdraw the actual cash from that. So I guess it'd be a way of liquidating. But again, you want to know that your APR is still going to be the same if you do this within a certain period. Like if you do it at the end of a statement cycle, you're going to have 30 days really to pay it back. My recommendation is to do something like this the day before your statement cycle date closes. That way it starts in a new cycle. You ultimately get around like 60 days almost to pay that back. So that would be a nice little trick where for whatever reason you just needed cash and you couldn't use credit. This would be an alternative to that. Or if you need to take that money, deposit it for something in particular, income verification, down payment on mortgage, anything like that, whatever the case may be, that might possibly be an option for you. And I'm just going to take you to the website so that way you could see this, because again, this information is subject to change. So at the time of recording, all of this information is valid. Right. So right now we are on the Navy Federal website. We're in the Go prepaid card portion, and spend money the smart way. And you can see Go prepaid. It delivers a convenient, flexible, and secure way to spend and send money that you and your family can bank on. And when you look at it here, it's for families. It's for you to be able to track spending, set a budget, monitor the account balances, load and reload the card. How it works: you can go to the prepaid card online, activate and load the money onto the Go prepaid card through the mobile app, and then shop online or in stores anywhere Visa debit cards are accepted. And it lets you know that you get convenience, flexibility, and security. You can download the Navy Federal Go prepaid mobile app. So there's a dedicated mobile app for this particular card. And if we go down to the facts right here, what payment method can I use in order to fund my card? And I copied the exact information here, but we can go over it again. Account owners can use their Navy Federal debit card or credit card. And right here, note, when funding the Go prepaid card with a credit card, the funding transaction is processed as a regular purchase transaction, not a cash advance. And then you can also order the Go prepaid card for additional users. So you can definitely check this out, especially at the time of recording. And you can see point of sale transactions are $3,000 per day. ATM withdrawal limit is $600. Account owners can customize the limit for card holders. Total card load is $10,000. No monthly activation or purchase fee. So this is something that you can definitely look into. It might be an additional benefit for you if you are looking to do that. And you can get as creative with it as you would like. All right, now we are looking at number 2. That's going to be the auto increase limit. Now, this is something that sounds really good, right? And I'm actually testing something out right now. I may do a follow-up video for just this one individual thing, but Navy Federal will automatically increase your credit limit. This is a feature that it sounds wonderful, but can also prevent you from maximizing your full limit. I'm just going to give you a quick example. I was trying to get another $8,000 increase on one of my Navy Federal credit cards, my personal credit card. There was when I got to month 5, it was like 1 month before I could actually do I was going to be looking at doing the increase. It was like maybe, let's say like 150 days in. almost getting close to the 181st day when you should, or the recommended date. They did an auto increase of $1,500. So instead of getting the $8,000 increase that I could have requested manually, I only got $1,500. And it doesn't seem like a big deal, but like I said in previous videos, the CEO of FICO even stated when you're trying to get higher limits on all your other credit cards, they look at what other banks are offering you. So that additional $8,000 could have helped me get increases on all of my credit cards when I did a credit line increase. I tried to do them all at the same time. So this would have had a trickle effect to hopefully increase all of them at the same time, which then could have gotten me higher limits on even business credit cards that I wanted to apply for. So that's one of the things that I was really upset about, because now I'm like, I got to wait another 6 months. So when I called, I did find out that from the representative that I spoke with, you do not actually have to wait 6 months for a limit increase. That's the recommended date. So the automatic increase didn't have to wait 6 months. It could be 4, it could be 5. They can just do it. They are also able to turn this feature off. So if you want to be able to maximize your limit, you can turn it off. Now, I do have, from what I've been researching, there is a theory of mine that the auto limit increase may not affect that 180 days, that 6 month credit limit increase, that pretty much that method that we're all familiar with. So I'm testing it out now. I'm trying to see if in this time frame, can I request another increase on top of that? If so, I'll come back and update this video, because it would be awesome if auto increases can be on and they may give you a couple, maybe $1,500, $2,000 increase here and there, but it won't affect you asking for $8,000 later. That way you might be able to get a $10,000 increase within like a 7 month, 8 month time frame. So I'm still testing that. I don't have any information to confirm it, but I will keep you in the loop. But if that's something that you had seen happen, just know that I would turn the auto limit increase feature off, because you could have manually requested way more. They may have given you a counter offer, but it would have been, in my opinion, for where my score was, the other cards that I just got limit increases on, I would say that I probably would have gotten the full 8,000. But instead, this is what I got. I got 1,500. So just bear that in mind. It's something that, again, they don't tell you. You would have to actually call them and ask them to turn this feature off. Now, if the counter happens and turns out you could do this and request a manual, I'll update this video and I'll come back with that information, and then it might be better to keep it turned on. But I will keep you posted with that information as I learn it in real time. Now, number 3 that we're going to be looking at will be credit line migration. Now, this is something that I've worked at a few banks. A lot of them offer this exact same thing. I didn't know that it was something with Navy Federal that you can actually do. So when you reallocate credit line, by that I mean you're moving credit line from one card to the other. You can move it with Navy Federal, and the account has to be open for 1 year. And that would be really helpful if you want to complete a balance transfer. So I'm going to give you an example. I had someone ask me what I recommend for a consolidation loan, and I told them I don't have any recommendations because everything's based off of, circumstances. If you have a consolidation loan for your debt and the interest rate is high, if it's lower than my APR on my card, then I guess it makes sense. If it's not, then I wouldn't do it, right? Or there has to be a specific reason why. Now, let's say you wanted to do a balance transfer, and the balance transfer was for $50,000. You could then take, let's say you have a Navy Federal card that has $50,000 and another one that has $30,000. You can take the $30,000 from one card, add it to the other. You now have $80,000 on one card, and now you can do a balance transfer, and you can consolidate all of your debt onto this one card. And a lot of balance transfers, they have low APR. Occasionally, there'll be promotions for 0% APR. So if you had a credit card that was just out of hand, maybe $50,000 in debt, and your interest is like $2,000 or $3,000 a month. I mean, the interest is killing you. You can't even pay on the principal because you can't beat the interest. This would be a situation where this benefit comes into play. Now you can put all of it to one card, 0% APR, and you can pay it down on the actual principal. Just imagine how much money that would save you if you were paying $2,000 in interest, and now you get to pay $2,000 plus extra on top of that to pay down that balance. And if you have a year to do so, you can really make a dent in that. I mean, if you could do that for $2,000 for a year, that's $24,000. That can be half of that entire balance. And if you could throw a little extra on there, that would be great. It'll give you a lot of time to be able to really get that down. And then you can go do a balance transfer somewhere else with a different card and then pay down the other $24,000 within another year. Now you were able to pay that without paying any interest, 0% APR, by using this and by using this reallocation strategy. So again, this is something that I didn't know that they had available at Navy Federal, and it can be good just depending on how you're going to use it and how you're going to reallocate those funds. All right. Now let's do number 4. Number 4 is going to be viewing your internal score. So a couple things with this. Some of us may or may not know, but Navy Federal has an internal score that can range from 100 to 450. And Navy Federal will use this and your personal credit score, usually your TransUnion FICO 9, to determine what approval odds you'll receive as well as low interest rates. And based off this internal score, you may be approved for lower interest rates and higher limits, even if your credit score is low. So that's one of the huge benefits of having an internal score. The internal score, like for another example, there's someone who on our $80,000 Navy Federal Flagship credit card video, they had a 580 credit score and got approved for the Flagship for, I believe, $11,000. And I think I pinned that comment because I thought that was really amazing, because that just goes to show you didn't have to have the strongest credit score if you have a high internal score. And you can do things like get the pledge loan, use the certificate, make deposits, get products with Navy Federal, and definitely make sure that you're depositing money and you're building that relationship. You don't necessarily have to have the strongest credit score. You can have a strong internal score. Now, your credit score is taken into account, but it's not the end all be all. And that's the main point. So if your internal score is lower than about 250, I would probably wait before applying for anything. And a lot of people don't know how to find their internal credit score. So that's where, this information comes into play. Anytime you apply for a credit card product, Navy Federal is going to send you a letter. And if you look on the back of that letter, it's usually on page 1, then you will see your internal credit score. So it is it's again a number between 100 and 450. Now, that's the only way that I know of that you can actually see your score. You can try to call, you can try to ask. A lot of times, some of the people who work there don't even know what that is. And, I've worked in a place where it's like internally, you have to understand that sometimes it's just a job. And there's some things that I'm not going to know about that. If you're someone who is looking into something like a strategy or something like how we're doing, you're going to be more involved in this than I will, even if it's my job. So I understand. I've been on the other side, so I get it. You're not going to know all that stuff because to you, it's not really that important. You're just trying to do your job. So again, some of them don't even know what that is. This is the definite way that you can find it. So if you are approved for a credit card, you will be able to see your internal score. If you're denied for a credit card, you will see your internal score. I want to give you a tip to actually seeing your internal score. That probably seems obvious, but I'm not sure that I heard anybody ever mention it on YouTube. But what you can do is freeze your credit scores. Freeze your credit scores and then apply for something with Navy Federal. Apply for a credit card, apply for something. You will get denied because they're not able to actually see your score, but you will receive a letter in the mail. That letter should have your internal score on it. Now, sometimes I've seen where it doesn't, but This has worked for me in the past when I wanted to see my internal score. I just go apply, freeze, denied, letter in the mail. You're denied because we weren't able to access your with the internal score. And then they'll also have some tips that you can actually see on that letter about how to improve your internal score. Like they'll have things like number of inquiries on the credit bureau, your report saying that it's too high. They'll have like balance statuses. They'll have length of Navy Federal membership. So that the time that you've been a member actually does matter. That can all affect your actual internal score. So you do want to be aware of that. So a lot of these things do add up. Account balances can also be a factor, and you want to put yourself in the best position to get approved for their products and their services. So again, that's the reason why we hyper focus on building that relationship to really grow that internal score. That internal score is just as, if not more important than our actual personal credit score. So just keep that in mind and let me know if that tip still works. I haven't done it in a while, but you can try that. Freeze everything, apply, get a letter in the mail with the denial, and then you can see your internal score without having to actually apply for something and take a hard inquiry. Or if you apply for something and you're approved, just know that you'll be able to actually see it that way as well, or if you are denied. Now, number 5, I want to talk about credit pools. Now, credit pools is going to be a couple things. I want to talk about when's the best time to submit them, like to submit an application to get a credit pool, and where they're actually going to be pulling from. So this is going to be some information that I'm not sure is still relevant, but it was at a time. It was, at least at a time, best to submit your application anywhere between 11 p.m. and 4:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, as Navy Federal will be using an automated system. Normally, underwriting is gone. Hence, it used to be called the late night approval hack. And it was supposed to give you a higher chance of approval during those hours. I think it was a loophole that Navy Federal was aware of, so it may or may not still work. But currently, they use your TransUnion 9 for everything personal. Experian for the business, but TransUnion FICO 9 for the personal. Except they have been known to pull your Equifax FICO 9 for credit line increases. So you may or may not know that. Memberships, if you're a member, it's currently a soft pull unless you call. If you call for like a credit line increase, they will most likely do a hard pull. And you want to avoid this by just doing it through the app. You don't really want to have to call. If you're denied on an application, they can also reuse a hard pull within 30 days if they can match your application with the previous app. Now, we have tools and resources on this channel to remove hard inquiries. But remember, if you're approved for something, you want to keep that hard inquiry. You don't want to remove it. So if you are denied and you want to try again within a certain time frame, like, a 30-day time frame, you can then, instead of taking a second hard pull, you can try again with the original one. If something changed, like let's say you paid down your utilization or something changed where your score increased, then you can call them back and say, hey, can you use this same one? If you're approved, cool. If you're not, we know how to remove it. So just some additional information that you can actually use. And just another, like a sidebar, you're only allowed 3 credit cards maximum. You can have duplicate cards, but you are only allowed 3 cards maximum on the personal side. And also, if you do get, let's say, a credit pool, you're approved for a credit card, your initial credit line without proof of income, the maximum you could possibly get is $25,000. $25,000 is the maximum amount that you could possibly get without proof of income. And of course, $50K on every card except the Flagship, it's $80,000. But for initial, it's always going to be 25. Without that, one more thing, and you may or may not be aware of this, but when you're doing a credit line increase, if you were denied or you did not get approved, I recommend calling, because sometimes they actually have your credit line increase pending. Sometimes all they need is proof of income. They need to verify something. So always call and ask. They may just need to verify that. And if they verify that, then they can approve you for your credit line increase. And that's something that I've never seen like anybody address or talk about. So just keep that in mind. I would always call if you did not get it and just find out why, because it may be as simple as you calling, verifying some information, and then you're approved. So always double check that. But that is pretty much it. Those are 5 things that Navy Federal will not tell you. And if you didn't know, then you are aware now. I may compile another video of a few more things that you may or may not know. But thank you guys so much for watching. If there's anything that you want to add, things that you've found out, add them in the comments. You know, it would be great to actually have here under this video a lot of information that people did not know and that you can share. That way we can all just go down to the bottom of this video and look at all the additional information that we can refer to, and we could test out some of these theories, experiment with some of these methods, and to see if some of these things actually still hold weight, like the late night approval hack. So again, in the comments, add some additional information. If you know anything, or if you've benefited or learned anything from this video, please like, please subscribe. Thank you for watching once again, and you guys have a wonderful day. Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith. On this channel, we talk about business strategies, financial literacy, and all things when it comes to personal finance. And today, we're going to be talking about something that I've actually wanted to address a majority of the time that I've had this channel, but I'm just getting around to it now. It's the pledge loan with Navy Federal. Now, most of you know this by the Navy Federal pledge loan hack. You know, a lot of people talked about it. It's not really a hack per se. It's just a strategy that you can use to get an installment loan. And then when you basically pay off a majority of the loan and it reflects on your credit report, it increases your credit score because it looks like you had a loan and you paid a majority of it off very quickly. And that's really it. But I do want to go into more of a step-by-step guide when it comes to this particular type of loan. I just want to explain what this loan is, and then I want to explain a little bit more about this strategy and how this strategy actually does work to increase your credit score, and how you can utilize it if you are a member with Navy Federal, and how it personally did help me. I got my pledge loan and my Navy Federal secured card at the same time. Between both of those, they really did help increase my credit score by using them responsibly and, of course, paying them on time, keeping my utilization low. And yeah, it also will help with your internal score. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Again, the 3 things that we're going to talk about: what is a pledge loan exactly, what are the benefits, and this credit hack. Again, it's not really a hack, it's more of just a strategy, but that's what people know it as. So we're going to, get into the details of that a little bit more and why it helps you in the first place. Now, a pledge loan, it's just a safe, smart way to borrow money. Now, technically, you're not borrowing money. It's just like when you have a secure credit card, you're using your own money as collateral. So it really is no risk to the bank or financial institution to offer this. And Navy Federal is just one of the places that offer a pledge loan. There are other places that offer them. It just I think it's called a secured savings loan. But a Navy Federal pledge loan is a secured installment loan, and essentially you're borrowing money against your own money. And as you pay the loan back, the money is given back to you. So it's a really simple, easy process. And I think that the reason why people like it is it really essentially is just you moving money around. You're moving it from one place to the other, and then you're getting it right back. At the same time, you're able to build your credit. And then I'll go into a little bit more detail about exactly what I mean by just moving your money around. So how the pledge loan works, and I want to make it as simple as possible. You're going to call Navy Federal. The only way for you to get this loan is, 1, you have to be a member of Navy Federal. 2, you have to call them, and then you're going to specify the amount that you would like to use. Depending on the amount that you get will determine how long the term is of your pledge loan. And then you're going to be asked to add the money into your Navy Federal savings account. So you're going to move the money into your Navy Federal savings account. The loan is created in a few days and it'll appear in your Navy Federal online account. They'll ask you to, also sign and approve it. They'll send you some documentation. You normally get it in 24 to 48 hours. And then once that happens, you'll see the pledge loan on your online account. You'll also see that the funds have then been moved back into your checking account. So you move the funds into the savings, a pledge loan is created, the money gets put back into your checking account, and then you also see the pledge loan. So once that happens, you will now have a loan that reports to the credit bureaus as a new installment loan. All right. And this is good for a few different reasons. And that'll bring us into the next part of our video, which is going to be things that you should know. So you're only allowed to have 4 pledge loans per savings account with Navy Federal. Once you finish paying off the pledge loan, you will lose the benefits of the pledge loan. So keep in mind that longer loans are better. And what I mean by that is I have another video where I talk about how to get an 850 credit score, a perfect credit score, how credit scores break down. The only way to have good credit is for you to be actively paying on debt. I know for people, they think, oh, if I pay something off, then my credit score is going to increase. No, if you pay something completely off, your credit score actually goes down. A credit report is like a report card of how well you pay things on time. I don't know how well you pay stuff on time once something is paid off. So you lose the benefit. That's why with the pledge loan, a lot of times it gives people a temporary boost to help them get lower interest rates on auto loans, to give them a nice little increase in their score for different things that they want to do. But the best benefits you will get from a pledge loan is making it longer. I believe you can go 180 months with this loan. So that's about 15 years. And here are the different amounts. If you do a pledge loan between the amounts of $250 to $500, you can only do 6 months and the APR is 2%. If you do $501 to $1,000, then you can get a length of 12 months with 2% APR. There is interest on this loan, but 2% is really nothing. $1,001 to $1,500, then you could do it for 18 months with 2% APR. $1,501 to $2,000 is for 24 months, 2% APR. $2,001 to $3,000 is for 36 months, 2% APR. Once you get to $3,001 plus or more, you have the option of doing 60 months. And that's, I think that's a good one. I think that's a good place to actually, if you can actually afford to do it, that's a good one. That's going to be for 5 years. And then you get, 2% APR. If you want to do it for 61 months to 180 months, then it's 3%. But I think that's the best one. Reason being, and I'm going to get to this a little bit later about the breakdown of your credit score. A big part of your credit score is on-time payments, and a big part of your credit score is account length. So you got to think, if you get a $3,001 pledge loan and you have it for 180 months, 15 years, and you pay a big portion of that loan off, that basically guarantees 15 years of on-time payments. That's going to be a 15-year account as time ages. That is going to help your credit score overall. The longer that loan is, the better it's going to actually be. So you really want to focus on getting it for the longest amount of time to get the maximum benefit from it. I don't think you need to have multiple pledge loans. I think having one lengthy pledge loan would be the best option for you. Now, you can only apply for this loan in a branch or over the phone. So keep that in mind. There's no way to apply for it online. You won't see that as an option. So these are just a few things that you should know and you should keep in mind. Let's get to the actual benefits of this pledge loan. All right. So here's the advantage number one. When you apply for more loans, you're likely to get higher approvals. Now, what do I mean by that? When you apply for, let's say, a credit card, if you look up the CEO of FICO, he actually says that a lot of the limits that you get approved for, they're based off of what they can see on your credit report. So let's say you have a pledge loan for $10,000. It is more likely that if you have a balance that high, that they'll approve you for a credit card with a higher limit. So you may go for a credit card and only have a $3,000 pledge loan, and you may notice, oh, every card that I apply for, I'm only getting approved for a $2,000 limit, $2,500 limit. If you were to have a $10,000 pledge loan, there's a greater chance that you may get a credit card with a $10,000 limit, $8,000 limit, which then will let other banks know, or people that are lending you money, that you can handle these high amounts. It just increases the likelihood that you're going to be able to get higher limit approvals for other products when other banks and lenders are looking at your credit profile. Advantage number 2. It builds your internal score with Navy Federal. So with Navy Federal, I think if you want personal credit cards and you want to get high limits and you don't want to, apply for too many because it'll reduce the age of your history, the more accounts that you apply for, unless you're looking for a particular cashback or benefit, I think credit unions like Navy Federal, they're a good place to get one credit card and stick with it. If you were to get something like a cash rewards card, I believe the maximum limit you can get on that is $50,000. You can also get another $30,000 on another card. Between all of your cards, you can have a maximum of $80,000. And if you were to get a business credit card with Navy Federal, then you can get $25,000 max on the business side without documentation. So in overall, you can get $105,000 maximum from just Navy Federal. That's one institution. So one way that you can get these higher limits is to build your internal score with Navy Federal. You can build your internal score by getting more products and services like the pledge loan. That's definitely one that they're going to look at, and it will look good. Advantage number 3, this will boost your credit cards significantly. And that's just another thing when it comes to, it was kind of like the first thing. You're going to definitely get higher credit card limit approvals, but it'll also increase all limit approvals. I kind of switched Advantage 1 and Advantage 3. Like, for example, auto loans, everything like that. This will just overall increase everything that you're going to get when they see that you have higher balances that are paid. For example, if you were to do a $15,000, $30,000 pledge loan, like let's just say you have $30,000 in your savings, you could technically do a $30,000 pledge loan, pay 95% of the loan off, you get the money right back. But now everyone can see that you have $35,000 where you've paid 95% of that loan. And you probably want to stick between 80 and 90%. But if you want your money back, you want your money back. I would say either way, that's still pretty good. Now, if you were to, let's say, go and apply for like a car loan, I think that you're more likely to get a better interest rate and higher approvals because they see you can handle that $35,000, that $30,000 that you had. It just looks good. So there's a lot of advantages to actually getting this loan. And overall, I think it's a great strategy depending on where you are. Now, I've seen some people say that this is it's not good to have secured loans, installment loans. Here's the thing. These are all just strategies and tools. No one can say without a doubt that this is good or it's bad, right? I wouldn't use a hammer to tighten a bolt. I would use a wrench. You use different tools for different things. If you have an 800 credit score, maybe it won't benefit you much. Depending on where you are, maybe it won't benefit you. For someone who's new to credit, this is going to help. This will help. Especially if you get if you're like bank loyal and you want to get all your products from one place, put all your money into Navy Federal, get the pledge loan, you want to get your auto loan, your mortgage, and you build that relationship, then absolutely, this is a great thing then in that case. So just don't let things like that deter you. Just know that everything is a strategy for a different level. And as you start to level up, certain strategies won't be necessary for you. Certain strategies will still be necessary. So you can pick and choose how you want to do this. Again, this is just a tool. That's all it is. It's a tool that you can utilize strategically to help build your credit, get higher limit approvals, and to just help you overall with boosting your credit score. All right, now let's talk about this credit hack. Again, it's not really a hack, but I know that that's what people know it as, and we use hack because hack is like a buzzword. You know, it makes you want to click on the like video when people say hack because it feels like it's like a secret. It's not really a secret. It's just, I mean, you could do this with so many different things. You don't have to necessarily just do this with just the pledge loan. There's so many different strategies that you can use. So here's the strategy with the pledge loan or hack. When you receive your pledge loan, you pay back 80 to 90% of the loan. This will result in a credit score increase and you get the money back into your savings account. This is simple, straight to the point. This is just how it works. You only have to pay the APR amount, which, for example, let's do some math really, really quick. If I had $30,000 as a pledge loan and I did 3% APR, for $30,000, the 3% would be $900. While that sounds like a lot in comparison to how much you are actually, the benefits you're getting from it, I think that it's worth it. And that would be a pledge loan spread over 15 years, 180 months. So you also have to consider that as well. Let's go on the low end. If you had a pledge loan for $1,000 and it was only 2% APR, that's $20. So, you know, I think that it's relative to how much you're putting in, but of course, then it's also spread over a longer period of time, the more money that you use. Overall, I'd spend $900 on $30,000 for 15 years of on-time payment history. That is a steal, you know, to me. Now, here's a credit breakdown. The reason why this hack or strategy works really well and people recommend it is because of the breakdown of your credit score. 35% of your credit score is on-time payments. If you pay this loan off and you do 90%, again, imagine the 180-month one. You've already locked in almost, you know, that's like 14 years right there of on-time payments. It's locked in. You already did it. That's amazing. Utilization's only for credit cards. This will also help with your credit history the longer that you have it, and it's going to help with your credit mix. Your credit mix is 10% of your credit score. So already between on-time payments, between credit history, and between credit mix that is 35, 45, 55% of your credit score is being hit, and new credit, if you count that, that's 65% of your credit score. So, I mean, I don't really think that it's really going to get like that much better than that. It's not going to get that much better. Actually, I'm sorry, that's 70% of your credit score. You can hit 70% of your credit score with this one loan if it's utilized properly. So I think that it's one of the best strategies that you can use to help you grow your credit. And if you understand the breakdown of how your credit score works, then it's almost a no-brainer to have this with Navy Federal. Now, if you are watching this video and you're thinking I'm not a member of Navy Federal, there's plenty of videos on that about how to become a member. For example, if you are a roommate of someone who is in the military or is a member of Navy Federal, they may not be in the military themselves, but if they're a member and you contribute at least 50% to the household, like if you're paying half the rent, you can become a member of Navy Federal. If you know someone who's a member, they can provide you with an access code. If you have a family member who is in the military, then you can become a member. And then people have another one called a hack. It's not a hack. It's not a backdoor method. If you've had a family member who was in the military, like, for example, I've had two grandfathers. Both of them have passed. They were both in the military. You know, I can grab all of my grandfather's, all of his credentials. I can show them that I had a grandparent who was in the military, who's no longer alive today, and I can still become a member of Navy Federal. It's not like a secret. It's not a hack. It's not a backdoor. You can do that just by it's like lineage. Like if they were there and you can show them, then you're good. And that's really it. So honestly, I mean, if as long as you have someone who's been affiliated with the military in some way, form, or fashion, there's a way for you to become a member of Navy Federal. It's again, it's not that difficult. And I think that if you are looking for a credit union to actually utilize in order to help grow, your credit, especially if you're brand new to credit, I believe that this is a good one. And even if you're not brand new, I think that, for Navy Federal and credit unions in general, because credit unions are not traditional banks, they're not looking for profit. They use the money for their members in order for them to give you good interest rates on loans and other products. So in actuality, people need to have more members of Navy Federal in order for them to grow. The more people that have Navy Federal, they deposit money into their account, they leave money in their account, they pay back these products and services on time, the more money and better interest rates they can offer you as a union. Again, the union is run by the members. It's not a traditional bank where they're interested in making a profit based off of interest rates and bank fees. So the more members that there are that use the accounts responsibly, the more they can offer other members. So that's pretty much all I have for this video for today. If you have any questions or concerns, please leave them in the comments. I'll get to them as soon as I can. If this is something that you're currently using, I would love for you to drop in the comments, what the pledge loan did for you. How much did it increase your credit score? Are you looking to possibly do this right now? Are you a member of Navy Federal? Are you not? The different ways that you've joined if you became a member. It's just good to share all this information, because the more information that we share, the more people that we can help. And then, in turn, we can all become a resource for each other when we need to get these types of products and services, or things change, new information comes to light. We all want to be a resource hub for each other, so use your peers to also learn a lot of the things that are going on with these products and services. So thank you guys so much, and you have a wonderful day. Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith, and today we're going to be talking about the Navy Federal Flagship Visa card and how you can get an $80,000 credit limit on this card. You can even do this with bad credit as well. And this is something that I have been doing since I started my credit repair journey. And even now, I'm continuing to do this. And it's a really, really cool strategic method that I feel like a lot of people sort of talk about it, but they don't organize it in the steps that I believe, should take to do it effectively quick. So we're going to talk about how even with bad credit, you can get $80,000 from Navy Federal. I'm also going to give a nice bonus tip at the end. And then we're going to also show how even if you do have bad credit, bad or good, the time frame that this is going to take is almost going to be the exact same, or very, very, very close. So no matter where you start, you're still going to all end up in the same position, no matter where you are credit wise. And of course, on this channel, I do have resources for credit repair, lots of videos on collection removal, hard inquiry, charge off. So you guys can check that out as well. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. If you are not a member of Navy Federal, you probably are thinking, why does everybody talk about this one particular credit union? And there's a big reason why. Navy Federal is the country's largest credit union with around 168.4 billion in total assets and 13.2 million customers. And this was only at the end of 2022. And that's according to the latest data. So they've also been known to give out high limits. You've probably heard that they give out very, very high limits. Reason that they can is because they're not traditional institutions. The money that they're able to lend is based off of what the members have that are a part of the credit union. So because of that, and they don't do the usual traditional financial institution, they don't go through the same type of structures, you will get a lot better interest rates. You'll also get a lot better funding. And it also will give you more of a reason to actually deposit money and leave it inside of your credit union. Again, a lot of the amounts in loans and credit lines that they're able to give out, they're able to give that out because of the money that you leave in their bank. So Consequently, because you do that, you're actually able to get a internal score that raises your value as a member and also will give you products and services. So you're actually rewarded in the sense with a credit union like Navy Federal for leaving money, being a good client, having products and services with them. So it's about building relationships in this particular case. Traditional banks, it's more of a transactional type of relationship. With Navy Federal, it's all about building trust. And that's the difference that you're going to get with this particular credit union. Now, a lot of people want to know how to become a member. I recently did a video on the Navy Federal Pledge Loan where I talked about that. Becoming a member is not difficult. If you would like to be one, you can become one, of course, through military affiliation. And some people will say, well, I'm not in the military. For the most part, because of the amount of, like, our military is very, very large. There are a lot of individuals who are in the military in some way, form, or fashion. So no matter what, I can almost assure that you're associated with someone in the military in some way. You just may not have realized it yet. So in my previous video about the pledge loan, I discussed a few ways, but of course, I'll go through the obvious ones: immediate family, your parents, your grandparents, your spouse, your siblings, your children, including adopted or stepchildren, grandchildren. If you have a household member, if you have a roommate and you pay half of the rent, if they're in the military or they are a part of Navy Federal, you can also become a member that way. They also can provide you with an access code. If you have children that are in ROTC, you can become a member. If you work for the Department of Defense and you're a civilian, then you can become a member. If you're a veteran, then you can become one. There is a lot of ways that you can become a member of Navy Federal. And the one that people usually say is the backdoor method. It's not any backdoor. You can become a member if you had a family member who was also in the military that may have passed or be deceased. If you have a grandfather who was in the military and you remember, maybe what branch that they were in, you can call this number here today and you can tell them that you had a family member who was in the military, but they passed and, you don't have them here to be able to vouch for you, but they were in the military. Tell them the branch, just give them some of the information. You can become a member that way as well. So plenty of different ways that you can do it. And it's not too difficult. So I would suggest that you look at that. Or again, if you have someone who's in the military who is family right now or a friend, they can also provide you with an access code. And like I was saying before, everything with Navy Federal is based on relationship. So because they're this relationship financial institution, you are able to get much better interest rates, limits, loans. It makes it so much easier. And that's the reason why a lot of people like to use Navy Federal. I also like the fact that you can get up to $80,000 with one credit card from Navy Federal. The reason why I like that, you should have multiple credit card products, but if you're rebuilding credit and you only started with one credit card, the reason why I would recommend this one is because you can start it and increase this limit slowly as time goes on to get it up to a maximum limit of $80,000. If I had to pick one credit card that I knew could do that, I would definitely pick Navy Federal. That's the reason why when I started to rebuild, I started with that because I knew over time I can rebuild and get the maximum limit here. Even if I had bad credit, I would still be able to do so. Now, let's get into this strategy that I'm referring to. Again, all these tips are just strategies based off of information, and I just want to compile it in a very simple and easy way for you to understand and hopefully execute on. So you want to open a checking account and savings account with Navy Federal. That's pretty obvious. You want to become a member. You can use the exact same methods that I gave there. Hopefully one of them apply to you. Again, if you had any member of your family in the military, you can then call them and become a member. All right. Now, if you open a checking account and savings account with them, that's going to be the first step. And I recommend opening up a Flagship checking and a money market savings account. and then you should keep that account open for 90 days before you apply for anything. Now, I do want to say, if you have good credit, you can apply for credit cards right away with them. But all based off of research, if you were to open an account, deposit money, and build a relationship with them first, wait 90 days, you're likely to get a higher limit. Even with your credit being good, you may have only gotten $5,000. You took maybe 90 days and built a relationship, you may get a credit card where the starting limit might be $10,000. So just something to think about. But if you already opened an account with them and you already have a product like a pledge loan or something like that, that's okay. Nothing's wrong with that. That's just something that if you haven't done it yet, that I would recommend. Now, I want to talk about some of the features with the Flagship checking account really, really briefly. You do get dividends with this account, so they will pay you a bit of interest for keeping your money there. If you have between $0 to $9,999, you'll get 0.35%. If you have $10,000 to $24,999, you'll get 0.40%. Anything over $25,000 is 0.45%. Now, these aren't the highest percentages, but I believe if you're going to leave your money somewhere, you might as well get something for it. These tiered dividends are based on balances, and you earn these dividends with keeping a daily balance of at least $1,500 for the Flagship checking account. The reason why I recommend having this account is because the more money that you leave with inside of Navy Federal, the more money that they're able to loan out and also make. So I believe, because I've worked at a few banks, that when you have our premier products, they always will, because every bank has a similar type of internal scoring system. Navy Federal has a well-known internal score. These types of products help increase your internal score because they require you to keep more money. Now, for the money market savings, that one is going to be a 0.25% interest that you get from having $0 to $99,999. You also get a percentage for 100,000, 250, 500, and 1 million, etc. And there is, again, no monthly service fee for this one. As long as you have an average daily balance of $1,500 or more, it's $10 for the service fee if you have less. So you definitely want to make sure that if you're starting off with these particular accounts, you're leaving $1,500 in both accounts. You won't get any fees. And you'll also, again, build your internal score with Navy Federal by setting up direct deposit. You want to do that as well, and opening up these particular accounts. All of these will help you. So if you're starting off with Navy Federal and you want to put yourself in the best position to get high limits, set up direct deposit with the Flagship checking and the money market savings account, make frequent deposits, or as you get paid, just do them bi-weekly. Let them just go in there for direct deposit. And then you want to wait 90 days. These are all really, really good things. If you also want to get additional products, if you want to get a pledge loan, if you want to get an auto loan, that's something that you can do. I would wait the 90 days just before getting anything if you can. Now, here is our next step. For the next step, we're going to apply for a credit card. So if you decide to wait the 90 days, during that time, you made your deposits, you opened up the accounts that we just talked about. This will have built your relationship and will increase your internal score with Navy Federal. The first thing I would do before applying is going to Navy Federal's pre-qualification page. By providing them a few pieces of information, they can run a quick credit check with no impact to your credit score to see if you're eligible to receive a specific card before submitting your application. Now, I will say that if you submit this and the only card you pre-qualify for is the N Rewards card, that is okay. That's okay. I'm going to go through all the scenarios for if you have bad credit, fair credit, and great credit. We're going to go through all the scenarios, okay? Because the beauty of this is no matter what, you're going to qualify for something. If you qualify for the secure card and you're rebuilding your credit, that's okay, because you will still be able to get to get this secured card. It will be a $200 deposit that you will have to give them at least, and that's going to be the collateral for you to get this card. But this is how I started with Navy Federal. I started with a secured card because that was all that I qualified for at the time. It is okay. If you have fair credit, you may qualify for the Cash Rewards card or the Go Rewards card, maybe even the More Rewards card. Now, if you have excellent credit, you'll probably qualify for the Flagship Rewards card. So with Navy Federal, you may only have 3 credit cards, and the total limit you can have is $80,000. The reason why we're talking about the Flagship is because it's the only Navy Federal card that you can have a limit of $80,000 on. Every other card that Navy Federal has, the Go Rewards, the Cash, the Platinum, the More Rewards, they can only have a maximum limit of $50,000. So technically, you can split it between them. Like you can have a 20K Cash Rewards, 15K on the Go, have 35,000 on the Flagship, and you can split the limits amongst these cards to equal up 80,000. What I think is easier is just getting one card. All right. So once you apply, or once you pre-qualify, you see your options. If you're pre-qualified for the Flagship, my recommendation, get the Flagship. The good thing about the Flagship, it has a minimum limit of $5,000. If you only qualify for the Cash Rewards or the Go Rewards, pick one of those. And if you only qualify for the Secure card, pick the Secure card. Okay. Now, here's the good thing about the Secure card, and we're going to go over that with the next in the next section. But the good thing about the Secure card is if you have it, after 6 months, they're going to try to qualify you for a Cash Rewards. You graduate. They refund your deposit. You get your deposit back. If it's $200 or whatever the case is, they'll refund it back to you. And then you'll get a $2,000 credit limit. For me personally, they were sending me emails 6 months after I got the Secure card. Once they sent me the emails, they tried to evaluate my credit worthiness to see if I was able to graduate. I was not in the first 6 months. It took exactly 1 year. They waited 1 year, and I still had charge-offs. I had at least 2 still on my credit report. So that lets you know right there, even if you have charge-offs and maybe your credit score isn't the strongest, you can get the Secure card, keep it for 1 year, and chances are you'll graduate. And you'll graduate to a $2,000 credit limit, and they will send you a Cash Rewards card. And then that'll kind of take you up to what we're going to be doing here. So if you qualify for the Secure card, you will have to wait until that card graduates to continue this process. Once it graduates, then you can move on to this next process, which is going to be the credit limit increases. Now, for our fair credit people, I'm going to start as if you qualified for the Cash Rewards or the Go Rewards. And let's say that you started off with the credit limit of $5,000. For Navy Federal, when it comes to the Cash Rewards, Go Rewards, any of the credit cards that you qualify for, that's not the Secure card, it's not the N Rewards, they have a 91-3 rule. So Navy Federal requires you to wait 91 days or 3 statement cycles before requesting a credit limit increase. This is when you initially open up your card, and the maximum limit increase you will receive is $8,000. All right. So check this out. If you were to, let's say, get a Cash Rewards card with a limit of, let's say, $5,000, in exactly 91 days or 3 statement cycles, you can then request a credit limit increase of $8,000. You would have a $13,000 limit. You would have a $13,000 limit. So for the people who have the Cash Rewards, for the people who have the Go Rewards or the Flagship card, 91 days after you get that card, request a limit of $8,000, right? Because that's the maximum that you could get. You can't get any more. Request that limit. As long as you've been using the card responsibly, Hopefully you've been, taking care of your credit and doing everything else that you need to do. You will be good. All right. A tip for you. If you're going to be actually trying to request this limit increase, pay your utilization down across all of your credit cards. Get it to 10% or below, not zero, but 10%. I probably wouldn't do it lower than 5, but 10%. Pay that off. Make sure you don't have a large balance on your card, but you can show that you're actively using it. Do these things to maximize your credit score before you request the credit line increase. You want to make sure everything looks good before we ask for more credit. We got to make sure this is looking good before we request it. So make sure that you do that, because then you'll more than likely get the increase. Now, for the people with the secured card, back to you guys, if your card graduates and you get the $2,000 credit limit, you cannot do the 91-3 rule. That's not good. You have to wait till 6 months, which brings us to the next step. So after you've asked for a credit limit increase in the 91 days, you can only ask for a limit increase every 6 months or 180 days going forward with Navy Federal. So in the first 3 months, we get our first one. Cool. 90 days, 91 days. Now we have to wait 6 months for our next one. So realistically, whatever credit limit you start with, within the first 9 months, you can already add an extra $16,000 to that limit. Okay? You can add that much more. So if you have the secure card option that graduated to the cash rewards card, here's my recommendation. After 6 months, ask for an $8,000 increase. You can then do a product change after having that card for 1 year. You can do a product change to the Flagship. Remember, the Flagship is the only card that can have $80,000 for a limit. If you do not have the Flagship, you cannot have the full $80,000 on that one card. Now, if you want to just apply for another card and split it up, then you can. But just know that that is the only card that does that. But after 1 year of having that same product, you can request a product change as long as you have a limit of at least $5,000. So if you have a cash rewards card that's $2,000 and you graduated from the N rewards within that 9-month time frame, you can now get more than $8,000 for your limit, and now you can do a product change to a Flagship, which is perfect, because then now at this point you'll have a $10,000 limit. Remember, you can only get 2 when it graduates. Limit increase $8,000. Now you have 10. Product change to the Flagship. You are locked in now. You have a $10,000 Flagship card. That's if you started from the N rewards card and had to graduate. For our people who are in the middle, you could start off with $5,000 maybe, and then you'll get $8,000. You're at $13,000 within the first 9 months with the Flagship card if you decide to do a product change. Now, after we do a product change, you're going to request a limit of $8,000 every 6 months until you reach the maximum limit of $80,000. While this may sound like it's very tedious, it's really, really not. And I just want to give you an example. If you started with a limit of $5,000, with $5,000, it would take you around 4.5 years to reach the full limit of $80,000 for your credit limit. Now, for my people who have good credit and you started with, let's say, you did the 90 days, you made your deposits, you built your internal score up very, very, very well. There's a chance if you apply for the Flagship, you might start out with a $25,000 limit. So you might start a little bit ahead, but here's the kicker. If you started out with a $25,000 limit, it would still take you around 3.5 years to reach the full $80,000 credit limit. It would still take 3.5 years. If you started from the $5,000 limit, which is going to be like the base to get the Flagship, then it'll take you around 4.5 years. So the thing is, even if you started in the middle, even if you started with bad credit, the amount of time that it would take you with bad credit might be 5.5 years. Fair credit starting at 5,000 would be 4.5 years. excellent credit starting out with 25,000 would take you 3.5 years. So in my head, I'm like, it's not that much of a difference of how long it can take. It's really not that long. We're kind of all within the same ballpark. And if you play your cards right, and that's why it's important to build the relationship first, the higher you start out with, the less time it'll take. So I would say you can get up to the $80,000 in as quickly as 3.5 years. Starting from the middle, I would say 4.5. Starting from fair to bad credit, probably if you're doing the secure card, I would say 5.5 years. And in that time frame, I mean, every 6 months, except for the initial 91 days, you're going to be increasing by $8,000. That's going to do a lot of great things for you. Like I've said before, if you, so some of the executives at FICO, they have said that the other credit card limits that you get approved for are usually based on the credit limit that you currently have. So if you have a $10,000 credit card with Navy Federal and you apply for a card with Chase, there's a good chance that they're going to approve you for a $10,000 card because they see what you are currently getting from somewhere else. All of this stuff will only just help you. And it's just going to keep gradually increasing over time. So as time goes on, all this will do is just aid you in the process of getting higher credit limits from other financial institutions, including business credit, which brings us to the next thing. Now, I have an entire video where I talk about getting the Go Biz reward cards. I give you step by step how when you start an account with Navy Federal from day one, you can open up your business account, which I did. And I also have the Go Biz rewards card. So with this card, you can get up to $25,000 with no docs. And I started out with a $15,000 limit, probably because I did build a relationship with Navy Federal for a while. I did have to wait until my Experian credit score did get to a certain point before I applied for this. So I did have an account with Navy Federal for over a year, and I did have to wait until I removed all derogatory marks from my credit score to apply for this card. But they did start me out with $15,000. I was able to raise my credit limit on there now. So $23,000 is where it's at. And, I'll get the last $2,000 in another 6 months. So if you wanted to get technically $105,000 between just Navy Federal alone, you can get up to $80,000 on the personal side. And then you can get an additional $25,000 on the business side. So if you wanted to, if you started off at $25,000 with the Flagship and you have a business, do a sole proprietorship and then apply for the Navy Federal Go Rewards Biz card. Try to get another $25,000 on that side, and you can get $50,000 between both of these cards, kind of right out the gate. And I mean, from that time, if you also did an extra $16,000 within your first year, because again, you could do 8,091 days, 6 months later, another 8,000, now you're at like $66,000 that you have basically within a 1 year time frame from this one financial institution. That's the reason why it's just really, really such a great credit union, and why you should definitely be looking at doing this. I mean, getting access to $105,000 within that short period of time is amazing to me. Again, not to mention the great benefits that it'll aid you when you're applying for other banks that usually will want you to do a whole lot just to be able to, get higher credit limits with them. They're just going to look at what you have with other institutions and say, hey, well, if they gave him $10,000 must be what he can handle. Or if they gave him $25,000, well, maybe he can handle $20,000 over here. Let's see. So if you guys want to check that out, my recommendation is that you go to, or I'll probably put it like somewhere right here. I recommend that you watch that video. Again, I go into great detail about how you can qualify for this card. It's very, very, very simple. And you can get this on the Visa or MasterCard side. They have both affinities. I recommend going with MasterCard. That's the one that I started with, but you can also go with Visa and you can also change it. I've also seen where someone got both the MasterCard and the Visa within a very short time frame. But from what I understand, even if you get both affinities, you don't get $25,000 from both, they will split your limit. So you can play with that and test that theory out as well. But either way, it's a very, very good option. I recommend you doing that. So once again, thank you guys for watching this video. If you have any questions about this strategy, if you're currently a member of Navy Federal, please drop that in the comments. Let anybody know how long it took you to maybe raise your limit. What was your starting limit? What's your limit today? Have you guys, noticed that the strategy kind of is what you're going through now, where every time you get a credit limit increase, they're only allowing you to get a maximum increase of $8,000. I'm not sure if everyone noticed that, but it will only be $8,000 every 6 months after the first 91 days. So you can kind of plan out exactly how long it'll take you to get to whatever credit limit that you're trying to achieve. So with that said, thank you guys for watching. Very much appreciate it. And you have a wonderful day. Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith. And on this channel, we discuss everything financial literacy. Now, today we're going to be taking a look at the $50,000 personal loan with Navy Federal. This particular loan does not require any documentation, which is why I think it is so popular with people. It's just stated income. Now, I've covered a few Navy Federal products recently. We looked at the Flagship. We looked at the pledge loan. And this is a loan that I actually did put in the application for. I did qualify for. I ended up not taking it. So I did want to go over some of the pros, some of the cons of this loan, but overall, anyone can really qualify with this. Technically, there is no credit score criteria. However, I'm going to actually give you some information and data points where, even though it doesn't state that there is a criteria, I do believe that there is one. I'll also give you some tips at the end where if you have bad credit right now, what you can do to potentially qualify for this loan. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first thing I want to talk about is some of the cons. I want to give some warnings, and I also just want to make sure that you're cautious about getting this loan. The next thing that we're going to be looking at is some data points and application information. Then we're going to be looking at some personal loan details. I'll also give you those tips. And then I will show you how you can apply for this loan on the Navy Federal website. The reason why I want you to be cautious with this loan is because at this time, the interest rates that we currently have are extremely high. So if you're getting this loan at $50,000, I'm going to actually show you what that looks like when we actually go through the application process. I just want you to see exactly how much this loan is, what you're paying for interest, and exactly what that's going to cost you overall. So if you're not able to pay back this loan, I recommend that you should just wait. Just hold off. I mean, if you can't pay back a loan, you shouldn't be getting a loan in the first place, of course. But what I'm saying is, if it's not just the loan and it's the interest that you also are worried about, my recommendation is to wait for rates to go down. Let yourself be put into a better position to succeed as opposed to just getting this loan because it's a little more easily accessible. Now, my recommendation, brainstorm. You need to have an idea about what you're going to do with this loan before you even think about applying for it. So if you're going to be using this loan for business purposes, my recommendation, leverage business credit. There's alternatives. There's credit cards, 0% APR, balance transfer cards if you want to move some stuff around. But if this is the option that you want to go with, if it's for something personal, there's actually a few different types of loans that Navy Federal offers. Personal expense loans can be for, they list like auto, they list a few other options for what you could potentially use this loan for. You could really use it for anything, but they give you some options that they would see the situation that would call for it. They also have home improvement loans, separately auto loans. There are specific loans that they have which should reach the criteria that you need for what you're doing. So just have an idea about what it is that you want to do, what you want to accomplish, and have an exit strategy. Let's say, this doesn't work out and for whatever reason, you're not getting the return that you thought that you would get for this loan, whether that be an investment, personal, whatever the case may be. Have an exit strategy to get this loan paid off and put yourself in the best position to win. Okay. And again, I can't tell you exactly how you do that. That's going to be up to you to figure out. Just before you get it, just make sure that you're in the best position to benefit from this, and don't have it become something that will get you in trouble or potentially ruin your good credit history. Or if you've been in the process of rebuilding, you don't want to have to go back to doing that again. So, let's just all be careful before we actually get this loan. Now, here are the features of the Navy Federal Personal Loan, and this is called the Personal Expense Loan. When you go on the website, this is what it's going to be listed under. So the features, it's simplified financing for unplanned and planned expenses. From the website, they say it's good for auto repairs, moving and relocating, vacations, and other major purchases. Now, on this channel, we leverage things like this in order to make money. At least, that'd be the hope. So it can be really used for anything, but these are just some of the things that they list as a good reason to actually use this loan. Now, $250 to $50,000 is the loan amount that you can get for this loan with no documentation. You have terms that go up to 36 months, and this is the current APR to date, 8.99% to 18%. In my opinion, this is extremely high. I don't like it. It's way too high. If you have a plan though, and you know how you can get your return on this in a very fast manner, or the return is going to be much higher than what it cost for the APR, that might make sense for you. So I'm not saying that it wouldn't. I don't think it's favorable terms, but it doesn't mean that it can't make sense for you. It just all depends on what you're doing. They also have 37 to 60 months, which can be from 15.24% to 18%. So if you're going for 37 months, it locks you in at 15.24%. Now, this is to date. These rates are subject to change. You need to check. At the time of this recording, these are the rates. I'm going to put a link in the description so you can actually click on that right now and you can check what the current rates are. If this is 6 months from now, these rates may be different. They may be higher, they may be lower. If this is a year from now, you definitely want to check these rates, because there may be very favorable terms for you depending on, where you are. But again, the shorter the term, the better the interest. The longer the term, the higher the interest rate. You'll have to decide whether or not it makes sense for you and your situation. Now, here are some data points when it comes to this personal loan. This is all stated income. That's probably one of the best things about this loan. It's no documentation that's required. You don't need paycheck stubs. You don't need tax returns to apply for this. You'll receive a decision within minutes. And once you do have that decision, you'll sign a promissory note that's sent to you. Your funds will be automatically deposited into your account in as little as 24 hours. For the people who did receive this loan, I've seen that they got the funds within, 10, 20 minutes. It's in their account. It's ready to go. Now, even though that Navy Federal says there is no credit requirements for this actual loan, I would say your best options for favorable interest rates and favorable terms, you should have at least a 660 to a 680 FICO score. That's going to be a hard pull from TransUnion. I believe they pull your TransUnion FICO 9. So another big thing about this loan, they look at your job history. The longer your job history, the better. You look a lot more stable if you have a long history. And you also want to check your current annual salary. If you are a current member of Navy Federal, which if you're looking at this loan, you do have to be a member in order to actually access this, you can update your annual income. My recommendation before applying, update it. If you want to update it, then wait 24 hours, do that. But you do want to make sure that you have your salary. And I would recommend having 5 or more years of work history when you apply for the loan. Put that on the loan. They also ask for your employer's address, your employer's phone number, and some information about your employer. Now, when you're stating the income, another thing that you can, we'll get to that, but You just want to make sure that, I would say, you have a good debt to income ratio, because again, if you have credit cards, other products with Navy Federal, they can see it, and they can also see how much money you have in your account. So they can take a look at how much money that you have in the account. What has your average balance been? They can see how much money has gone in, come out. So they kind of already know exactly what they're working with based off of what's in the account. Okay. There is no prepayment penalty. So that's one great thing about this. There's the interest for this loan. It compounds daily. If you like to pay off this loan soon, you are able to do so. Only one personal loan is allowed at this time. Only one personal loan. Let's say you wanted to get more. If you had a joint applicant for this loan, they also have to be a member of Navy Federal. You can get up to $150,000. They might ask you for documentation. So if you did want to get up to that amount, just know that you could jointly with another member, but then up to 150,000, and it is subject to documentation. You can also have a co-signer on the loan, if you so choose, but that's only if you deem it necessary. If you can, I would try to get it on my own if possible. This is the application checklist. Before you apply, we want to make sure that we have all this information put together. So, how much do you want to borrow for your loan? How long do you plan to finance this loan? Your current employment and income, including your employer's name and contact information, want to have that all together. Your contact information, including your phone number, your email. If you like your loan documents sent to an address other than your address or what's on record of Navy Federal, then you want to call. That's important. Information about your co-applicant, if that's applicable to you. If you do decide to have a co-applicant, their date of birth, their address, their phone number, their email, their income, their employer, their social, and then their Navy Federal Credit Union access number. So all this information is required. You want to make sure that you have it before you apply for this personal loan. Now, before I said I would give you 3 tips for approval if you have bad credit. Let's be honest. You can't just qualify with bad credit, but there are some strategies that you can put into place that can increase your chances of getting this loan. Now, if you have bad credit, but you have Navy Federal, this is a bank that is based off of relationships. Navy Federal does have internal scoring models, and it ranges to as high as 450. You want to at least be over a 250. That will increase your chances of approval. Now, you can do that by setting up your direct deposit. That will increase your chances. And the more money that you have coming into the account will give assurance that you can actually pay back this loan. So if you don't have a direct deposit set up, I would consider setting that up now, at least for, let's say, 90 days, letting money come in there, because the more money that comes in there, the more history of deposits, the more it looks like, oh, this person has enough income going through this account where we're sure that they can pay back this loan. That helps. It'll also raise your internal score. You can add household income. So you can include the total income that the household brings in, not just your own personal income. And loans are approved based on your debt to income ratio. So check this out. If you have someone that you live with, they don't even have to be added as a co-applicant. You just have your spouse, roommate, someone that you're cohabitating with. You can add their income to your application. So if you guys are both making $60,000, you can put $120,000 for your annual income. That's something that can definitely help. If you have a friend or family member that can add you on as an authorized user to one of their aged accounts, this can also help with your payment history and can increase your credit score. When I first started my channel, there's a video where I talk about this. It actually has to do with getting an auto loan with bad credit. I include Navy Federal as one of the places that you can get the auto loan with. There are places where you can purchase trade lines that are aged, that have good account history, high credit limits. Those can greatly boost your score. So you can look at one, if you have a family member or friend They don't have to give you a credit card. You can just ask them, hey, can you add me on to your account? Let it report after like 30 to 45 days. Once it reports, it will boost your credit score. Once you're able to do that, if you have any, other things that work like credit builders, additional things like that, use as many resources that you have, get your score as high as you can possibly get it. Your TransUnion one, of course, in particular, because that's where they pull for this loan, and then go and apply. What I can do is I'll link that video. Let me get the time. I'll link the video so that you can see. It's one where I talk about all the trade lines that you can get, and also talk about that strategy in order to increase your credit score if it's bad fairly quickly. That way you just become more favorable in terms of getting this loan. And so do these 3 things if you can. Definitely add the household income, direct deposit. Those are very, 2 easy things that you can do if this applies to you. Authorized user, if you can do that as well, it won't hurt that person. I mean, it can hurt you only if they have late payments or their utilization is high, then don't do it. But if it's someone who's responsible and they don't mind adding you on, again, they don't have to give you a card. You never have access to the account. It's just so all of their good payment history can report to your credit report, boosting your score. And when it's done and you get approved for the loan, just remove you. It's that easy. All right. So with that said, let's now go ahead and go to the Navy Federal website. I'm going to show you step by step how to apply for this personal loan. So right now we are on the Navy Federal website. You can go to the very top. You'll see an option that says loans, and there are different loans here: mortgage rates, pre-approval, finance, auto. Plenty of different loans here. What we're going to do is look for our personal loan. And then here we go, personal loans. All right. And then just like before, these are the terms. These are the interest rates. You'll always want to check here first before you apply. Here's the personal loan. Here's the home improvement loan. As you can see, the terms here go to a little bit longer. They go to 180 months here. $25,000 is the minimum loan. So, if you were doing something for home improvement, that was the purpose. You may want to consider doing this one instead. You do have to call for this one or to visit a branch. You cannot do this one online. There's a debt consolidation loan if you're looking to consolidate. It's pretty much the exact same rates. It doesn't really change there. The amount of months is the exact same as the personal expense loan. So really not that different. You can call for this one as well, or you can apply in a branch. There's the savings secured loan, the certificate secured loan. Those are closer to our pledge loans. That is all the different personal loans that they offer, but we are going to be looking at the personal expense loan, and then we click on apply now. All right. In order to apply, you will need to already be a member with Navy Federal and have access to your online account. So we're going to get logged in here. All right, so I slightly scrolled down, but at the very top of the loan, it just asks you to confirm your personal information. So it had my first name, last name, my address, my phone number, my email address. You just want to confirm that all that information is correct and does not need to be changed. Then it asks you to tell us about your finances. You want to put your employment status. I would just say private employer, unless you're active duty military. You're a government employee. You can also put self-employed, but I recommend just doing the private employer. And then you can put the name of your employer here. So whoever your current employer is, just add that information. You'll then want to add the length of employment. Again, I would say 5 years is really good. So hopefully you have that time frame with that employer. And then your total annual income. So for the total annual income, again, if you have something that you can add for your household, I would add that. When you do add that, it's before taxes, and it breaks down what your monthly income would actually be. So as you can see here, they're taking all this into account when you're applying for this loan. That's the reason why they're breaking it down. They want you to actually know how much you have coming in. And again, it's about debt to income. When we get down to where we're asking for the loan, they're going to show you how much the loan is monthly. And they're going to look at how much money you make monthly, how much the loan is, to see if it actually makes sense, to see if, you're able to pay it. So right here, it tells you may include your wages, your retirement benefits, public assistance, and income from investments or rental properties. And you do not have to reveal alimony, child support, or separate maintenance income unless you want it considered as a basis for repayment. In order to use certain types of income, and established history or evidence of continuance may be required. So just letting you know that they may end up needing information depending on what's put. Now, housing type. You can do you own, free and clear, you own, paying a mortgage, renting, whatever it is that you're currently doing. If you have rent, they're going to ask for the amount. If you're own, free and clear, there will not be one to enter. But just keep in mind that as you are doing this application, this is just a calculation. They're going monthly income. What's your housing expense? That's for most of us, that's the biggest expense. This one, they're going to minus that one, and they're using this information to determine what it is that you can qualify for. So as you're putting it in, you're kind of telling them everything that they need to qualify you or disqualify you. If you have a co-borrower, that's optional. Then you can add them, same information that we talked about before. You will need their access number, the date of birth, name, their social, their address, their phone number, their employer contact information. All of that's going to be needed for you to add them as a co-borrower. And then provide a loan amount and then select a term. So let's say that we're selecting $50,000, right? And let's just do the longest term, because that's going to give us, I just want to go, this is all highest interest rate, longest term. 15.29% will be the lowest that you could possibly pay, to around 18%. Look at your estimated monthly payment, $1,209.64. And it can range from this to $1,285. So just going back, if I had rent and my rent was going to be, let's say $1,800 a month, we have that. And let's say that I was only making $80,000 a year. So they would deduct this, and they would also deduct this to see how much I'm making, to determine what my debt to income ratio is. So again, you're telling them your debt to income ratio. So what you put can qualify you or disqualify you. It also can be determined by how much money is in your account. So again, you want to take all this into consideration when you're filling this out. You're providing the information that lets them know if you can or you cannot pay back this loan. Of course, I would put in the exact information, because sometimes this could be saving you from yourself. If it doesn't make sense, it just doesn't make sense. That may be your best protection. All right. And then you want to tell them where you want to fund it. So if you have a savings account, this is my membership shared savings, nothing in there. So I'm just going to leave this account the way it is. And then you can put the disclosure information. So before you submit your application, please read through these important disclosures. You would then consent to, of course, the credit pool, and then the loan application accuracy the certification disclosure. And it says you previously read and agreed the e-sign disclosure. You would then submit the application. Once this application is submitted, again, within minutes, you'll know if you're approved. You will know if you are denied. So if you are denied, that's okay. I have videos on how to remove hard inquiries. You can check that out. You can remove the hard inquiry. No harm, no foul. You'll want to go ahead, go back to the drawing board and consider, hey, 1, do I need this loan? 2, why didn't I qualify? Think about the information that you just typed in. Did that make sense? Did that make sense for the bank? Would that make sense for someone if they were trying to get a loan repaid with favorable terms for this person to be able to, you want to consider all of that. If it seems to make sense, if your income made sense, if your history with your job makes sense, you're stable, you're making enough money, you're making more than what your rent is and the expenses would be, you have the deposit that's direct into your account. If it's everything, and I will call them to find out maybe an exact detail of maybe why you didn't get it. Other than that, if it's something that has to do with credit, your credit report is basically your report card on how well you pay back. So if you have the income, everything else looks good, but for some reason you're not paying people back based off of that, that doesn't quite make sense, that you're making enough money to pay everything, but you're just choosing not to pay someone back. That, of course, is a red flag. You'll want to work on that to get that information cleaned up. Plenty of videos on here. Please check them out, and take care of the things that you can take care of as fast as possible. Use those tips that I gave to help increase your score even further, and then try again. But other than that, this is the entire process of this personal loan. Again, everything is stated. No documentation is required. So that is good. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you are someone who is looking to get this personal loan, then, drop a comment. Let me know if you were able to get approved. Are these terms favorable for you? If you want to share with what you plan to do for that loan, then, please share that information. Other than that, I have a video on the Flagship credit card that you can check out. I've done a recent video on the pledge loan if you want to see that. In one of my older videos, I talk about how to get the auto loan with Navy Federal if you have bad credit. And I'll probably link some of those videos here, the description, or at the end of the video. Appreciate you guys so much. This community is great. Again, it's just so awesome. So thank you for watching once again, and you guys have a wonderful day. That I'm saying is out the ordinary. It's not anything that anyone couldn't do. It's just I'm going to compile it in a way that's going to be easy and very comprehensive for, I feel like, anyone, because anyone can do this. So with that said, we're going to buy a car with bad credit, and again, no money down. So like I was just saying, the first thing we have to do is raise our credit score seemingly overnight. Now, there are various ways that you can do this, but here is the most effective way to raise your credit score so you can get that car. So you need to be added on as an authorized user. Now, I'm going to approach this as if I'm speaking with someone who's never had credit, because I don't want to, if I'm saying something that sounds like it's obvious, I apologize. I'm just saying that because there may be someone who is hearing about this for the first time. They could be young. They just don't know anything about credit. So just bear with me. So what is an authorized user on a credit card? An authorized user is someone who is added to a primary cardholder's credit account, even though the credit card company will issue a card with the authorized user's name on it. The primary user is legally responsible for paying charges on the account. So here's what I'm saying. When you are added on to someone's credit card account as an authorized user with various credit cards, you get to adopt that person's payment history. So let's get into how that helps you get a car. Being added as an authorized user on another person's card can give you credit history or build your credit. Increase your credit score fast using this method. Doing this will give you the history on the history and a credit score boost. So here's what I'm saying. When I tried to get my first car, I had bad credit. My mom added me onto one of her credit cards. When she added me onto one of her credit cards, I got all of her positive payment history. So my credit score was in like the mid 500 range. And it was like overnight, my credit score went up to like a 630. So I went from basically bad credit to fair credit seemingly overnight, right? So that's what we need to do. We need to get your score to at least the 600 range. And the reason why this is going to work is because 35% of your credit score is on-time payments. So if you get 3-4 years, 2 years of on-time payments, that's 35% of your score. It's going to dramatically increase your credit score. Your other 30% of your credit score is utilization. How much credit is being used on that credit card? So if this person is only using 10% or less on their card, plus they have positive payment history for, I would say, at least 2 years, you are going to see a huge increase in your score. You may see 50, 80, possibly even 100 points seemingly overnight once you get added onto that card. If you're going to do this, you want to do it, I would say, like right before their cycle date closes. That way, when you get added on, it reports a little bit faster. Okay. But this is the hack strategy that we're going to use. Now, I'm sure some people are thinking, well, what if I don't have anyone that can add me on or that doesn't want to add me on? First of all, just know that if you're asking someone to add you on and they're in a position where they do want to help you, they don't have to give you a credit card. They could literally add you on for 30 days. This will just be a temporary boost to your credit score in order for you to be able to qualify for that car loan. So just let them know, if they're hesitant, that you're not getting a card. This can be temporary, just enough for me to boost my score, just so that I am able to get better rates for a vehicle. So let's talk about if you don't have anyone that you can ask. There's a trick for that. So what if I don't have anyone that can add me? If you want to get an instant credit boost and you don't have anyone that can add you, you can use vendor trade lines to increase your credit score. And if you don't know what vendor trade lines are, I'm just going to go over that quickly. There's two websites that I recommend. One is coasttradelines.com. The other one is tradelinesupply.com. And we're going to go over exactly what a vendor trade line is and what does that actually mean. So, Coast Trade Lines. This is the fastest and most reliable way to boost your credit score. Boost your credit score in just 1 week. This is how it works. Our credit is your credit. We partner with individuals with high credit card limits to temporarily add you as an authorized user to their credit cards. Their card's perfect payment history and high limit will post to your credit file, boosting your score. This means their credit is now your credit, and you can qualify for things like a housing mortgage, auto finance, or business loans. So it's like when parents add their child as a user to their credit cards, our credit partners will add you to their credit cards to boost your credit score. So if you're a low credit individual, you want to watch your score increase and you need that boost in order to get, a car loan, a mortgage loan, business loan, any loan. This strategy doesn't just work with vehicles. It also will work with any loan. All right. And I'm going to give you an example of, what that looks like. So if you go to buy trade lines and you pick your own trade line. So there's a full inventory and you hand pick by your preference. Now, this does cost a decent amount of money. Pick your trade line, the fastest and most reliable way to boost your score. So here's someone with a Chase 23K credit line with 8 years of history. 8 years of history. So there's 3 spots left. It's $580. But you're going to get a 23K credit line with 8 years of history. If you have a 500 credit score, what do you think that's going to do for your credit score? Your credit score is going to jump up. I mean, I would say you will probably be somewhere in at least the low to mid range 600s by adding an account like this to your credit score. And it adds it on there for $580. And I believe that, they do it for 60 days. That's more than enough time for you to get in position to get ready to get your vehicle. All right, so let's look at other things. There's a Chase right here, another one for $27.3 thousand credit line, 9 years of history for $640. And if these prices seem high to you, there are different price ranges. The lower the price, you'll probably notice the lower the credit limit or the younger the account is. The older the account is, the better it'll be. I mean, they even had one right here that's not available, but a Synchrony. It's a low credit limit, $800, but 9 years of history for $290. So, a little bit less, but that's okay. So you would just go through here and just decide which one would work within your budget. And if this seems like you know, a lot, my what you guys have to understand is if you're trying to get a vehicle and you're looking at paying a crazy interest rate, 29%, something nuts like that, you paying $470, 770 even, what you're going to save over the long term over like a 60-month car loan, it's a no-brainer. Cuz I know like sometimes we're thinking in the immediate moment, but if you're thinking long term, you're going to save more than that within the first year just by having that lower interest rate. So this is an investment into yourself. And a little more information here. Lines with an asterisk have excellent posting histories. Grab these to minimize the risk of non-posting. Need to post to all three bureaus? Grab a BOC, PNC, and that just lets you know, like, if you want this to report to all three credit bureaus, then you want to make sure to grab these accounts. These post to all three. If you know that you have a bank that you're going to go to and you know which credit profile that they pull from, then you can just pick the one that they pull from. And it says, please select no more than 3 trade lines per application. We are not able to process orders with more than 3 trade lines. And then, of course, the trade lines bank, how long the trade line has been open, the longer the better. Trade line statement date is the line that you're seeing with the 25th, 26th. Remember, I was saying you want to look at the point where the statement cycle date's about to close. That's usually when it's going to report. So trade line statement date, it should post to your file about 7 to 10 days after this date. So, I mean, this is just a way where, again, you can ask your friend, you can ask your mom, you can ask your girlfriend, you can ask anybody you know with a good payment history to add you on as an authorized user for free. If you have no one that you can ask, then this is an alternative. You could even get a friend where you could say, hey, if your payment history is excellent and you have a high limit, I throw you $50. Can I you just add me on there for 30 days? I don't need a card. I just want to get this loan. In most instances, I would do that for free for my friends, you know, because especially if they're just trying to get into a better position. So this is definitely an option for you. I do believe that this is one of the best ways that you can get a low interest rate on an auto loan, a home loan, a business loan, or temporarily increase your score 100 points. I mean, just to get started with repairing credit, or for someone who doesn't have credit at all, where you can get a big jump so that you can get the lowest interest rates on anything that you need. And I just wanted to take you guys to Trade Line Supply as well, so you can see the accounts that are on here. Maybe there's better pricing. I haven't looked at this in a while. So here's a Barclays for $5,000, opened in 2020, so about 3 years old. Reporting period, March 9th to March 16th, one in stock, $322. So you can kind of like go through here and take a look at the different ones. I would look for a decent limit. Here goes a $10,000 limit. It's only been open since 2021. So you may get like 3 years out of that. I think that's not bad. $373.75, not bad. You know, they actually seem to have better prices than what we saw for the last one. Okay, pretty cool. So I just wanted to give you an example of both. And, you know, if you need that 100-point credit score boost, this is the thing for you. Or get added to someone's account as an authorized user. All right. Now, this is just step 1. So let's get back to step 2. So now here's what we figured out so far. We know how we can get a huge boost to our credit score to where now we can pretty much qualify for most basic loans. But now we need to get funded, and I don't recommend going to a bank. If you're trying to get a car loan, We don't want to go to a bank. Member of Navy Federal, I have a couple of their products. I had their In Reward Secure Card. I had that Graduate to a Cash Reward Cards. I have the Go Rewards Card. And I also have their Go Biz Business MasterCard. All right. So I have a few products with Navy Federal. I think they're a really good credit union. So Navy Federal's lowest APR is 4.54%. You can apply and get pre-approved. Once you're approved, they will send you a check for the entire amount of this vehicle. This does not require a down payment, guys. Once you have the check, you can purchase the vehicle from the dealership. This is hassle free. So Navy Federal pulls your TransUnion credit score. So if you were looking at the trade line option, you want to make sure if you go with Navy Federal, you're looking at one that has TransUnion reporting. So TransUnion credit score, and there isn't a minimum credit score requirement. However, Navy Federal is all about relationship building. Navy Federal has their own internal score for members. When I was rebuilding credit, Navy Federal was a big part of that. I would suggest if you want to get an auto loan and you're not pressed for time, open up an account if you can and get a pledge loan with them. Get the Insecure Rewards Secure Card. Open up a checking and savings. Make deposits into the checking and savings account for 6 months. Pay down that pledge loan and get that secure card. Pay it on time for 6 months. You do that, plus what we just talked about, you're in the game. You're in the game. But let's go to the Navy Federal website. So now I'm going to show you how to get pre-approved for Navy Federal Credit Union auto loans. So let's take a look at the rates, okay? So shopping for a new or used car, get exclusive benefits with our great auto loans and see what you need to get started. Let's just take a look at what we need. So step 1, you'll need to provide the following information: contact information for applicant and co-applicant, phone number and email, current housing, employment, and income information for applicant and co-applicant, trade-in information if that's applicable, the amount you expect to finance, including vehicle purchase price, taxes, tags, title, and warranty, less any down payment, length term of the loan you want. So when you're doing this, if you don't know the vehicle that you're going to choose, there is an option that you don't know the vehicle yet, and you can just get the amount. So this only applies if you've already picked out a vehicle and you know the VIN number and you know the state, the exact mileage, the dealer. And if you have all that information, then great. If you don't have a vehicle picked out, no problem. More about applying. So after submitting your application, you'll receive a text or email letting you know the status of your application. We understand that when shopping for a car, you can't always wait for a decision. That's why we typically provide a decision in 5 minutes or less. You receive your funds. That's step 3. You can choose to pick up a check at your nearest branch or have it mailed to your home. Send us the title once you pay the seller. Ensure the title is received by Navy Federal within 90 days of purchase. So before we go to that apply now option and look at those steps, let's just go back and check out some of our current rates that we have right now. A new vehicle for Navy Federal is 4.54%. Again, if you're a prime lender, you're looking at something like this for 36 months. 37 to 60 months, 4.99%. 61 to 72 months, 5.29%. 73 to 84 months, APR as low as 7.19%. 85 to 96 months, APR as low as 8.09%. And that is today's date. Rates are based on February 12th, 2024. If you're watching this video at a later time, these rates are subject to change. They may be lower, could be higher. It just depends. They also partner with TrueCar, so they actually help you pick your car online just to make this buying experience that much easier. It's seamless. You don't have to worry about the nonsense at the dealership. That's very, very important. Again, you can pre-qualify. This won't impact your credit score. I mean, it really doesn't get much. Would your business use an additional $25,000? Are you a member of Navy Federal? If so, this is the perfect video for you because I'm going to show you not just data points, step by step how you can get approved for this card and how I got approved for this card. So join me on the computer and I'm going to show you step by step how to get approved for the Navy Federal Go Biz Rewards card in 2024. Now, for full transparency, I was approved for the Navy Federal Go Biz Rewards card and I was approved for $15,000. I do plan on submitting a request for a credit line increase within the next 91 days. I believe you can do it within 30 days, but I'm just going to wait the 91. That way I can get some usage out of it before I make that request. So I'm just going to probably put like on the screen somewhere the approval. And yeah, let's get started. So the first thing you need to do in order to qualify for the Navy Federal Go Biz Rewards card is set up an account with Navy Federal. If you are not a member and you would like me to make a video on other ways that you can become a member, then I will do that as well. Let me know in the comments if that's something that you would like to see. Now, I received an access code from one of my friends who allowed me to become a member. Once I did that, the first thing I did was open up a easy checking account, a Flagship checking account, a savings account. After I made these 3 accounts, the very next thing that I did was get a in reward secured card. And then I also got the pledge loan for $501. If you do $501, then you can have the pledge loan for 12 months. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying there are different ways to approach getting this card depending on where you are in your credit repair journey or if you have prime credit. So in my instance, when I first started with Navy Federal, I was rebuilding credit. I had a lot of charge-offs, a lot of collections. My credit score was sub 600, so somewhere in the 500s. So if this sounds like your situation, I'm going to give you the steps that I took in that situation. If you have a fair credit score, but you don't have any derogatory marks, I'll give you that scenario. And if you have prime credit, I'll give you that scenario. So let's just start with what I originally started with. I started with easy checking, Flagship, savings, in rewards, secured card. And I also started with the pledge loan, $501. You can pretty much do this all within like a 2 or 3 day time span. So I wouldn't even overthink it. With this, I'm going to be under the assumption that you are already a member as we're doing this. So let's go under the guise that you're already a member with Navy Federal or you have the ability to become one at this moment. All right. If you have subprime credit, I will follow those steps that I took. If you have fair credit, like you're below a 650, but you're probably above like a 630 and you have no derogatory marks, I would still do everything I just said, but I would change one thing. Sorry, I'm going to just go right here. So this was the in reward secure card. When I got this card, I got it because I went to pre-qualify and I could not get any other credit card. I would go to the pre-qualify me section on Navy Federal before you get the in rewards card. Check if they pre-qualify you for any other credit card. I now have a cash rewards card. I now have a Go rewards card. I received both of those cards prior to me getting the business credit card. So if you're fair credit, no derogatory marks, no collections, no anything like that, and you're above a 630, right around that range, go to the pre-qualify me section and have them pre-qualify you for something else. You may get a cash rewards card. You may get something else. Go rewards. You may get something else. If you get that, cool. Get that card instead of the in reward secure card and do the pledge loan. Same checking accounts, same savings account. If you have prime credit, a lot of this won't apply to you. If you're a 750 or above, I would just open an account with Navy Federal. I would still do the Flagship checking account. I would still do the savings account. You don't necessarily need to do the credit card or the pledge loan. The more products you have, the more you build up your internal score. But with a score like that, you don't need to do it. I don't see that as being something that you need to do. Would it hurt? No, but not necessarily anything that's, I would recommend for you. You don't have to do that. Now with the secured card, I did the deposit of $200. It was very, very easy. I put it in my savings account. I called Navy Federal. They went ahead and took it from my savings, and then that was my credit line. With the pledge loan, I put $501 in my savings account. They take it from your savings account, and then they put it back into your checking. You get the money back, but then you'll also see the pledge loan. I paid 90% of that loan, so I paid about $450. And when you pay it, they put the money back into your account again. So a pledge loan is really just you transferring funds around. You don't really have to worry about that. You could even use the same money from the pledge loan, do the pledge loan, pay the $450 on 501, and then take 200 from that and use that for the secure card. You could just move the money around and shuffle it and do the same thing. You only get the money back for the In Reward secure card. You only get that back after 6 months at least. I think they can graduate you earlier. It took me 1 year to graduate. Now, these are just some prerequisites that I'm recommending because I know everyone's at a different point in their situation with trying to get this business credit card. So I just want to make sure I touch everybody. Okay. I hate to always deviate from the point, but I just want to tell you, this is what I did. This is exactly what I did. After I did all of this and set up these Navy Federal products, the next thing I did was open up a business membership. So become a business member and get started. This process for me was very, very easy. You want to gather all your information before you start the business membership application. When you start the application, they're going to ask you for some documents. Let's actually go to this, and we'll go to right here to our business solution facts. So what documentation do I need to submit with my application? So for business, the business solutions require your structure for your business. For me, it was my business license. I went to irs.gov and got my EIN number. So if you're familiar with creating a business and filing that information with the Secretary of State, you need to get a EIN number. You have to get a business license. And then they say that you need a certificate of good standing. But for the state that I'm in, I just went to my Secretary of State website, search for my business, and screenshot it as my certificate of good standing. It shows that the business is active. So the documents, they vary by the business type. I never create LLCs. I only create corporations. That's just my preference. So if you have a corporation, they want the good standing certificate filed, stamped within 60 days before date of application. Again, I just did a screenshot from my Secretary of State website. It showed that my business was valid. You're going to need your federal tax ID. When you start a business, you should already have this, and you'll have those documents. The beneficial owner form. If you're the 100% owner of this, then just yourself. And the fictitious name certificate is if you had it. That's just if it's applicable. I didn't even need that. Now, I would say the most common business that people use is probably an LLC. So for LLC, certificate of good standing, again, with your state, it depends. I went to the Secretary of State website, screenshot, your federal tax ID, and then the beneficial owner. So same documentation you would need for a corporation, and then so on and so forth. You guys could take a look at this and see where you would fall under your particular business type. And then this is what you would want to do. And it tells you some information about what a beneficial owner is. How does Navy Federal collect this information? So you can go here and read through. Once I collected all this information, they're going to have you start a to-do list where you're going to be uploading all this information. You're going to upload all this information. It's fairly easy, guys, super quick. Once that information is uploaded, You're going to call this number, 1-877-418-1462, within 2 business days after you've uploaded your documents. Now, I do a lot of research. I've seen videos where some people said that it took them, you should wait 30 days before you apply for the business account. Just so you know, I did mine within 2 days. I opened up my account with Navy Federal, right? I did everything that I told you about, the pledge loan, the in rewards, the secure card. And then I set up my direct deposit, of course, for Navy Federal. And then right after that, I did this online and I submitted all my documentation. The phone call is about 1 hour. So right here, it lets you know, review your application and documents with our representatives. Please be mindful that the review process can take an hour. So that review process is as follows. They will ask you for your NACIS code, or you may know it as like the SIC code, your business type. I had a website. They asked me for the website. They reviewed the website. They wanted to know what my business did, how we made profit. You know, they just want to check your business address. They're going to ask you if it's a virtual address. They said that that's okay. So all this was done. It took about 1 hour, just like they're saying here. And you need to be prepared to fund your business membership. So the minimum amount required to open your account will be $250 to $255. And this amount should be available for transfer from your personal Navy Federal account through a non-Navy Federal debit or credit card. So it's pretty straightforward, guys. It doesn't take long to apply for this account. Again, you could do this all within like 2 or 3 days. If you have Prime credit 750 or above, you can open your checking account, your savings account. I recommend all three: the easy, the flagship, and the savings. And then you can go ahead, wait for your online account to be active. And then you can go to this page, business membership, get started, follow these steps to start an application, right? You're going to just go to start the application. And when you go to start the application, you have to sign. When you go to start the application, you have to sign into the Business Solutions portal in order for you to even see it. But what'll happen is you sign into your personal account, you go to start the application, and then it's going to bring you to the Solutions portal. And then once you get to the portal, that's when it's going to ask you to upload all the documentation that we just went over. All right. So just so that I can bring everything back together. At this point, subprime people, the people who are rebuilding, we've gotten that secure card, we've gotten that checking savings account, we've gotten that pledge loan. Our mid-tier people, fair credit people with no collections and no derogatory marks. You're going to do the same thing, but you're going to pre-qualify for a different credit card just in case you can get the cash rewards or the go rewards and save yourself that secure deposit. And for our prime people, you just set up the checking accounts, the savings, and then you can go right on ahead to this step. And the reason why I'm saying this is because when I originally joined Navy Federal, I applied for this credit card before. I had just gotten my credit score to a 600, right around that range. And I still had derogatory marks. I still had collections and charge-offs. I applied for this card. They pull from your Experian credit score. Personal TransUnion credit cards pull. Personal credit cards from Navy Federal pull from TransUnion. The business pulls from Experian. Just keep that in mind. When I did it, I was denied. When I was denied, I received a response telling me I had too many delinquent accounts. So that's why I'm saying it's not that you wouldn't qualify if you have those delinquent accounts, but you're going to have to do more relationship building first. That's why for you guys, I recommend the pledge loan. That's why for you guys, I recommend the in rewards card, direct deposit. And then I would even set up a direct deposit for your business account. Even if it's just $25 every 2 weeks, I would just put some money in there. You do that for 6 months, improve your credit score, and then you can go back and take a look and see if you can qualify. Now, in my case, I don't know if you can qualify if you have any derogatory marks. I do know that with Navy Federal, it's all about relationship building. That's one of the major keys. So if you have improved your credit score enough and you've also gotten these products with them, it will just increase your chances of getting qualified for this credit card. At the time that I qualified for this business credit card, I had no derogatory marks. I had no collections, and my credit score was a 762. So I just want to have you guys keep that in mind. So once you've started that business account, this is the Go Biz Rewards credit card, right? Once you started it, you can start the application here. So before I go on, I'm going to tell you a few data points about my personal business. Again, it was a corporation. When I applied for this card the first time, my corporation was only open for around 8 months. When I applied for it the second time, my corporation was open around 1 year and 7 months. And I believe I did this on February the 6th of 2024. So I just got this account. This is fairly new. Now, I will say for this card, I received the 14.4% APR variable. There is no annual fee. It's a 1x point per dollar spent. So for people who have a lot of other business credit cards, this is not the greatest rewards card. But hey, if you need funding, it's good to get started. This card is available in a Visa or a MasterCard. Once you go to the start an application point, you will be given the option of choosing between a Visa or a MasterCard. There is no earnings cap on this card. But again, it's basically 1 point per dollar spent. So it's like 1%. So it's not the best rewards, but it's better than nothing. There's no foreign transaction fees. It's great for travel and expenses, and zero liability policy for unauthorized charges. Okay. So I did get approved for the MasterCard. That's the one that I chose. My business again opened 1 year and 7 months. I did build some business credit, but I don't think that was an important factor when it came to qualifying for this card. I think the two most important factors is having a fair credit score. I had less than 3 inquiries, only 2 inquiries at the time. And I'm sorry, I had 1 inquiry at the time, only 1. But I would say 3 or less would actually be good. I would say have at least a 680 credit score without a relationship. If you have below a 680, then I would say build the relationship first, especially if you have collections or derogatory marks. You definitely want to build that relationship with them first. Other than that, I think it's pretty straightforward. And that's really all that I had with a business. I believe you could get this card with a brand new business as long as it's structured properly. When I say structured, I mean you have a website, you have a Google profile where this business can be found. You get your number in the white pages and yellow pages online. Believe me, that still matters. You have a business number for this line. You have a virtual address. I actually started doing a course on starting a business, and I'm going to be starting a new business within the next probably 4 weeks. When I start this new business, I'm going to document the entire process, and I haven't decided yet if I'm going to put it on YouTube or if it's going to be like a course that you can get from my website, successwithstevensmith.com. So just keep an eye out for that. But I'm going to be doing a lot more videos when it comes to business credit cards and getting business funding. So this is the first of many more to come. So let's go to start the application. And we're going to go to single owner unless you're a multi-owner business, but I'm a single owner business. So I'm going to sign in to apply here. I was able to sign in with ease, so that is good. Right now I have the screen like covered slightly because I'm concealing my business name, but this was the process. The process was application, underwriting, it was approval, closing, and then booked. So it lets you know application, you completed the loan application, it's been received, and monitor your to-do list, right? Underwriting, review of the application and supporting documentation. The loan will be decisioned once it's determined that the application is complete. Approval, closing, and booked. So this is the process. I applied on February the 6th. I was approved on February the 9th, and I was able to see the account in my online business portal on February the 12th. And on February 13th, the account was booked, and then it showed booked and closed by the 13th. All right. So the entire process was, I would say 7 days. It could probably take 7 to 10 days. But for me, 5, 6 days really. Not, with the weekend. So I did start a process that I was going to show you guys. And I didn't want to go much further. So it's an incomplete application that's going to expire within 48 hours. Now it's showing my business information here, so I'm going to have to conceal that. But and I'm not going to go any further because at some point they do the hard inquiry and my information just seems to auto populate. So I'm not going to go any further than this, but this is the business visa application. I already have the MasterCard, so this is the Visa one. So card application, your business, where they're just going to ask for your business details. It's going to auto populate right here. Again, I probably have this concealed right now. I can see it, but you'll see your business information. Then the electronic communications, they just some information that they're going to want you to confirm. Beneficial ownership, that's when you're going to put if you're 100% or if this business is split between two different owners. Your card information. They're just going to ask you where do you want the card sent to, and it'll probably be, I think it only gives you the option for the address on file, which should be your business address. Your personal income and housing, that's where they're going to ask you for how much money you make as an individual and your housing expenses. Now for the amount that I put, it was over 100,000. But again, I'm not sure if that actually is applicable. It just depends. But you can also do under 100. I would just put what your personal income is, because I really don't know any data points that it would be for that. But I'm just telling you, for me, I put above 100,000 for the personal income. For your business income, they're going to ask you if your business makes less than $1 million per year. And if you fall into that category, then that's what you're going to choose. And and your certifications and disclosures, again, some things that they're going to get you to confirm. Your certification of organization, that's where they're just going to confirm that your business is in good standing, and you just confirm that information. You're going to have an electronic signature with your first name, last name, and I believe your initials. You're going to review and then submit. After that next step, basically it's the process that we had discussed before, which is you have to wait for it to go through that status of application, underwriting, approval, and then that booking one. So we're going to go through that process. Again, it should take about, for me, it was like 3 days to know that I was approved. It took about 5 to 6 days to actually see the account on my online portal. And it took about 7 days for that account to be completely, that whole entire application to be booked, which it's now online and it's completely closed and we're done. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comments. If you're a member of Navy Federal and you have this card or you recently applied for this card, please put that down in the comments. Let me know what you were approved for. For me, again, I was approved for 15,000, and that was with again 762 credit score, no derogatory marks, no collections, no charge-offs, and I only had one inquiry at the time that I applied, and my business was open for 1 year and 7 months. Again, I don't think that's applicable. I just think your business needs to be structured, which if you were able to get the business checking account, then I believe that your business is structured. And I think that that's all you need, man. If you have a decent credit score, 680 or above, you're good to go. Below that, with no derogatory marks, below a 680, but maybe like that 630 to like 660 range, I would just get a couple products, and then I would go and apply. And if you are subprime with the credit, I would get the in rewards card, and then I would get the pledge loan, and I would make some deposits. Wait until your credit is cleaned up a bit, maybe wait 6 months, and then go apply for the card. Worst case scenario, I have a video that you've probably seen of how to remove the hard inquiries. This credit card does not show up on your personal credit. It doesn't show up on your business credit. Some people don't like that. For me and what I do with credit, that's perfect because the utilization doesn't get reported. So it won't affect you if you used 80% of the credit balance. It won't affect your business credit. So for me, I don't see that as a problem. In fact, that's the reason why I got the card in the first place. I don't see any advantage of the rewards for this card. There are much better cards with rewards. American Express has a lot of good cards. Chase has better business cards, but just the fact that it doesn't report on your business credit or your personal credit was an advantage to me to have that extra 25,000. I mean, I think, well, 15,000, but I'll get to 25. But to me, that was an advantage. I thought that was actually a pretty good thing. I'm trying to think other than that, if there was anything else that we need to go through. But I think that is everything. So if you guys have any additional questions, if I missed anything, if you think that there was some step that maybe I overlooked, please let me know in the comments so that I can clarify anything for you, or any other questions that you have. You guys know I'm very responsive. I'll answer as many questions as possible. Usually I'm doing some work in between, but if you email me, if you leave a comment, if you DM me, I usually respond fast. I think my fastest responses will come from the comments more than it'll come from any other medium. So please leave a comment, like and share and subscribe. And I want to see you guys get $25,000 in business funding, please. So start these applications, start the process, and I want to see it. Let me know. Thank you for everything, and you guys have a wonderful day.